to.
By the power of this podcast, I have the dankness. This is Black and the Black Ties Infinity. I am your host, your boy Blue, coming to you live and direct from my house. We're doing a virtual thing again. On the left side of my virtual screen, we have Kronos.
Hey, I find it hilarious that somebody that's a gold medal winner, like best ever at their sport, takes a day off and everybody gets mad. Oh, they get mad.
Yes, that's true. And on my far right of my screen, I have the oldest ninja in the world, O Ninja.
I find it funny that a lot of, I guess, cis straight males really don't like women in their action movies,
They're not women in
or at
anything.
least starring
Those are
female
incels.
leads.
They're incels.
Yeah, they have real issues with that kind of stuff. Just saying.
It breaks their little hearts.
Yeah, they're fragile little hearts. Well, we'll get into all of that in a minute. Yeah, I guess we'll start off with the statistics.
Yes, Kronos, what you got for us?
Actually, let me make sure I'm in the right shit here for a second, because YouTube is always weird. All right, so
Okay.
listener of the week would be Kimberly once again. Thank you very much. You have been a frequent listener for the past couple weeks, so thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, for almost a month. I think she's been there a month on number one.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny.
no, stunner.
What since Biz Markie passed away, I'm gonna talk about my ex. I'm just gonna say blah 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 from now on. I'm not gonna say her name.
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna be blah blah blah.
That's fucking funny.
If the song "Just a Friend," like he never actually says the name of the girl that he's seeing. He just says blah blah blah. That's like one of the greatest disses ever. Like subtle disses. First in the chat would be old Ninja, but we already know we're in here. Nobody is really in the chat yet, so once they are, oops, damn, I put it on the remix for a second there. Once they are in, we'll get somebody to shut up.
All right, cool.
So where are we gonna go first, gentlemen? We got some good topics.
First, we should say.
RIPs?
Well, first we should also say that Stitch and Prodigy are kind of in the wind. Well, Stitch may sneak up in a little bit in the next 30 minutes, and Prodigy is still running from the Facebook police. Too many photos. So then RIPs. Let's see what I got here. We'll start with Nathan Jonas Jorgensen, better known by his stage name as Joey Jorgensen. He was one of the founding members of the Grammy-winning metal band Slipknot and the original drummer of the group. He has played for different groups and artists such as Rob Zombie, Korn, OTEP, Metallica, Ministry, and Satyricon? Sure.
They had a name right. Oh, sorry, that's wrong.
He was also the guitarist for his group, the Murder Dolls, which he also produced. He had discussed with Metal Hammer magazine that he was suffering from a disease called, I'm going to totally butcher this, but acute transverse myelitis? I think it's myelitis or mellitus. This caused him to lose the ability to use his left leg and forced him to stop drumming. He had to do intensive gym therapy and had medical help, which I'm assuming is drugs, to regain his leg use. His family reported that he died peacefully in his sleep. He was 46. Next up, we had Jackie Mason, born Yakov Moshe Hokuhin Mazin. He was a comedian and TV actor. He was famous for the middle finger incident on the Ed Sullivan Show, where Ed Sullivan had mistakenly thought that Mason gave him the finger on air when he was just pointing to the cameraman or saying that he had 2 minutes left. This led to court battles and a slight feud between the two, which resulted in Mason being banned from the show. However, they managed to clear up the matter, and Jackie would return to the show for several years. The incident would affect his career for 20 years. He was an actual rabbi for a short period of time, following the footsteps of his father and his brothers. In 1986, he had a stand-up called "The World According to Me," which earned him numerous awards, including an Emmy. He would also win an Emmy for voicing the character of Rabbi Hyman Krustikov, who is the father of Krusty the Clown in the 1991 episode of The Simpsons. He would go on to appear in 10 episodes in total. He wrote and starred in some Broadway plays and off-Broadway plays. He has appeared in numerous movies such as The History of the World Part 1, The Jerk, and Caddyshack Part 2. He's in a ton of TV shows. Just a slight resume: 30 Rock, Chicken Soup, The Simpsons, as I mentioned before, and The Fairly Odd Parents, just to name a few. He was hospitalized for 2 weeks before passing away at the age of 93.
Yeah, and there's one more that I added in there because Old Ninja didn't put it on here, which is fine because we don't all pay attention to everybody's fucking deaths. But Dusty Hill from who was the bassist for ZZ Top passed away. I believe it was today.
So, yeah, I totally missed that.
Yeah, that's a very iconic band from back in the day. So yeah, it's a bummer. I didn't do like the super deep background because I thought it was already on here, but it's not. So yeah, give them a shout out.
Yeah, I missed it. Well, ZZ Top's they're like all over the place. They're in like a ton of iconic 80s movies, including Back to the Future, or at least they're in Back to the Future Part 3. I think they're in some of the like Corey Haim, Corey Feldman films, a couple of them. They're in some big time movies. They're notably famous for their long, like 2-foot long beards. They all had the same beards, and they had they had the sunglasses and the what's the style hat? It's like the inspector type hat or whatever. All three of them wore it. Yeah. So there's a 3-man band. They're iconic and whatnot. I had no idea that he passed, or else I would have.
And they're actually, the group was indicted into the Rock Hall of Fame back in 2004. Wow, that's actually a pretty long time ago, but that's pretty.
Still, but they have iconic. Everybody knows the song "She Got Legs."
Oh yeah.
Knows how to use them. And then they have had hits after hits, and they're in movies all over the place. So
it's actually I was looking at the discography for them. Yeah, I don't know why I got so choked up by that word. It doesn't sound right. But on here, well, for him, it looks like there's only 3 albums that he released, but I'm not sure if it's under him or under the group. Oh no, it's definitely under him. Because I went to the group and they have a lot.
Yeah,
more than 2.
The group has like 15 albums, and their most recent one was in 2012. It looks like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. All right, so we have a bunch of topics to really talk about. I guess, where do we go first? Either the Olympics or He-Man. Those are the 2 things that I think are
I say the other big one was the Activision shit, because that's kind of a earth-shattering, or at least a genre or industry-shattering like news that was going on. We can start with any 3 of those.
Wait, did we give a shout out to the first listener in the chat room?
Nobody was.
It would be Warrior Fella. He was asking about Kit Kats and some Netflix anime called Tresse? A Tress?
Is it Tracy?
I don't know. I haven't watched it, so.
Wait, before we go anywhere, so I just lit my my Black Times Infinity candle by Ibiji. Yep. Pronounce it right? And it's so funny because like when I took off the lid, if you ever use any kind of like any kind of grease in your hair to not just look your stuff back, but just get your shit looking right, there's this little shine on top of it. It almost looks like water, but it's just maybe some of the oil melted a little bit, so it has like a little bit of a sheen on top.
Some of the dew.
Yeah. So I opened it up and I was like, holy shit, this shit hell looks like fucking like Afro Sheen grease type stuff. I had the light. I'm like, I haven't lit this in a while. I'm trying to get a little dank in here, so let me do what I gotta do to represent.
I try to light mine in the morning when I work, because I do yoga right before work, and light the candle, do some fucking yoga, get spiritual and shit, whatever. Just trying to stay alive and not age. that ungracefully. So yeah.
I say let's get to He-Man. Or sorry, not He-Man. My bad.
Yeah.
But Masters of the Universe on Netflix that was
Yeah.
released.
I fucked it up too, and I think it's a very important distinction to make as we talk about Masters of the Universe Revelation, because I kept calling it He-Man Revelation, and
Me too.
it's not actually what the fuck it's called. It's Masters of the Universe Revelation. So I think this is where we get into some of the fucking crybabies out there in the universe about
Just
this.
imagine.
So,
Just imagine if Princeton and Revolutions, just imagine if they just made a movie about the Revolutions and it didn't include Prince whatsoever, and they just had his music playing in the back. That's basically what's going on here.
yeah, I think people they were confused, but I thought it was actually called He-Man.
I did too.
If you watch the anime, if you were expecting He-Man, and if you are super into just like that one character, I could sort of understand why you might be sort of angry, but also go back to that it's not called He-Man. That I thought it was He-Man, and I still really enjoyed the show. And
Yeah, same here.
There's some problems with the show that are valid, but if most of the people that were shitting on this show were just basically women bad, no women, too many women. I'm just like I don't really care. Like I guess one of the main things that people were talking about that one of the other things that actually Old Ninja brought up, I don't actually know, it was fucking Blue. You were talking about it, how the transformation with Prince Adam. I didn't even recognize that in the original he was always yoked.
Yeah,
He was always yoked.
So the toy is the same way.
Yeah, super yoked. And so that actually makes it seem more ridiculous when they didn't know that Prince Adam was He-Man, because the guy he takes off clothes and has a slight tan.
Yeah, and his hair changed colors too. He goes from a blonde to a redhead, I guess.
Blonde?
Yeah,
I think redhead to blonde.
but the same
But
exact
what- yeah.
haircut, the same exact everything.
Exact same haircut. Exact
It's
same
just
haircut.
like it would have been
Still looks the same.
it'd have been so fucking stupid to do that today, to have the same exact. And when I say the same build, there's nobody else in the He-Man universe that is as yoked as this fucking guy. No one else that is as yoked as this guy. So it's just like it'd be super stupid to have that same thing, like have this super yoked dude do this.
It's the second worst disguise next to Clark Kent put on sunglasses or Superman put on sunglasses, and like nobody ever recognized him.
Yeah.
But at least with Superman, he adds a little bit more to the character to make him not he adds being a klutz and this and that, and then like I think it was in Supergirl they talked about how, or it might have been a Superman comic as well, where his glasses actually have like some kind of his glasses actually makes it harder for him to see, so that's why he's a little bit more kind of clumsy with things. But yeah, anyways, that's just a little side note. I'm not sure even how accurate that is. I think I either read it somewhere or I saw it in a comic. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why Superman wears his glasses, because it kind of dumbed down his vision powers.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the whole He-Man thing, because we were talking about how like the original one was called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And like I was like, let me go back and watch the intro again. And when I was watching the intro and he started to transform, I'm like, yo, ain't nothing changing on him, but he's getting a little bit of a tan and his hair changing color. Like, how come nobody knew he was He-Man?
Yeah.
He's talked the same, like nothing really changed about his voice or anything.
Did Cringer talk in the original? I don't think he talked in the original.
I think
he
he talks.
Okay.
It's almost kind of like Scooby-Doo kind of talking.
Yeah,
Okay.
he does, and he's always scared. He does. Yeah, I thought about that too. I'm like, did he talk? So he doesn't talk as much, but he does talk. And when he does, he's always, like Blue said, it's like Scooby-Doo, always shaky and stuff.
Yeah. But the Cringer in this show is more articulated.
Yeah, he definitely talks a lot more, and he talks like a person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it threw me off a little bit, but then I was like, oh, it's cool, whatever. I mean, he's a fucking green jungle cat of some sort.
Yeah.
But anyway, I literally watched I was gonna watch just one of them with K-Mac, and I was like, look, if you don't like the first episode, we'll watch something else. But we watched the whole thing in one night, so it's only 5 episodes, so it's super easy to binge watch.
Yeah.
We're
It's like a good 2 hours.
yeah, the second half of the first season is going to release later on this year. Because I kept looking online, it said 10 episodes. I was like, I've only watched 5, and it was done. So I think that people that are really mad about the show might be a little bit premature about it. Like, I understand, like, the original issues with, like, what happens in the show. I guess we'll kind of go dig into it a little bit deeper. So if you haven't watched the show, stop listening right now, because I'm going to spoil the shit out of probably the whole show.
Yeah, because this dropped on Friday or last Wednesday.
I think it was
It
last.
drops.
Was it Friday? I think it was Friday.
I think it was Thursday or Friday. It came out pretty quick.
I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, so I mean, either way, I mean, we're past the 48 hour rule, but I don't want to, you know, if you haven't watched it, just, you know, come back. So, but anyway, basically, He-Man's only in 2 fucking episodes. So,
Yeah.
And it's like the first one and the last one. And
There's a couple of flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean, basically, He-Man sort of dies in the first episode, and I was
Oh no,
like,
he fucking dies.
yeah, he dies. And I was just like, whoa, damn! Like they went fucking. First of all, like when he stabbed fucking Skeletor, I was like, damn, like what the fuck? Like you just fucking, you really stabbed that dude. And yeah, so basically, you're missing Skeletor and He-Man through the vast majority of the show. So it comes down to, you know, He-Man and Skeletor's, like, their crews, like, figuring out, like, what to do without He-Man and Skeletor. And that's where it gets, like, super interesting, because you have Teela really being the one that's sort of like an anti-hero, but somebody that doesn't really want to take on the mantle of being, like, a real hero in the show. Oh, here we go. Stitch is coming in. Hold on. Hey, Stitch.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me make sure he's here.
Phone call completed.
Oh, phone call completed. You there?
Oh.
All right. You gotta talk something.
I hear him.
He's
I saw
fumbling.
he's in his car.
He's doing something. He's getting something.
He's getting his sword of power.
Maybe he found Prodigy.
Maybe. You here?
Thing.
Stitch?
Give me one thing. I'm having some audio issues.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can hear you. Anyway, we're
hear
talking about He-Man, so I'm just gonna keep it rolling. So
Yeah, Teela.
yeah, so Teela is like sort of like the main character in the first half of the first season, and then so is, well, she's basically the main character, and she has like sort of like a sidekick person too, and she's like, you know, pretty yoked for, well, she's pretty yoked. You know, she knows how to fight. She's a fucking badass. She's the what do they call her? Man at Arms, which is like,
Yeah, she takes her father's position.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty
Like
interesting.
literally first episode.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well-
thought that was a cool, like, kind of twist.
Well, for me, I thought Man of Arms was just like, you know, basically the name they gave their army, and she was like the first female to take on that mantle, because her father's still, and like he still have his man of, because when Skeletor is attacking Grayskull and all of the Men of Arms are heading that way, I thought, because all of them were wearing the same outfits and helmets, so I assumed that was the name for the army, and I guess she just was becoming a commander of them.
Yeah, her dad is the commander, and he's basically like, he's a blacksmith. So he's a blacksmith, but he also is the leader of the army. He has I guess the privilege or the honor of like leading the army, but he also knows Prince Adam's secret that he's He-Man, and he helps He-Man like be a better fighter or whatnot. At least in the original cartoon.
Well, that's one thing that was kind of cool about this, is that, so in the beginning and opening credits, they talk about how only some people know of his like true identity, and like, you know, it's the sorceress of Grayskull, Orc, and Man at Arms and Cringer. They're the only 4 people that knows his power, but like,
Well, his mom
scene,
knew.
well, I was gonna get to that, but like, yeah, the scene where like they're trying to rush everybody out of the castle, and his mom like turns around and tells him, like, she's whispering to herself, to him, saying like, "Hey, be careful." I'm like, oh shit, the mom fucking knows. I wonder if she knew this whole fucking time. Was like, hey, and the original one, he's like, he's yoke, he got this.
Yeah, so just to clear something up real quick, Man at Arms, even though it's obviously a character in He-Man is Duncan, but it's actually a military term.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so it's like somebody that's well versed in like a wide array of like weapons, and it goes back to like medieval times. With like they're usually like a fully armored person that knows how to use a bunch of different weapons, and they usually teach people how to use those weapons. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a man, but obviously going back to medieval times, it would be way more likely for it to be a man. But you have man-at-arms, probably like if you look in the Navy, I think they still have in the Navy probably, I think you still have man-at-arms like on ships.
Okay,
So, cool. That's person. They're kind of like armorers on ships, from what I remember when I was in the Marine Corps. But yeah, it's a common military term.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because because Tila, she can use all different kind of fucking weapons. Like her fucking staff is fucking badass, as well as and Man of Arm, like he's fucking badass. Like I mean, the guy had all the different weapons, but like even his fucking fighting style is fucking badass. He like when He-Man died and Tila goes to do her own fucking thing. Like I think like 10 years passed or something like that. I can't remember what the time skip was.
I don't think it was 10 years, but it was. I think it was between like 2 and 5.
Yeah, let me see what it was.
But still, I mean, yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. Like, oh, what the hell? There's a lot kind of packed in these first 5 episodes. I mean, when Tila sets off on her own journey after she finds out that Prince Adam was He-Man, and she finds out after he like basically dies because him and Skeletor disappear in this weird like time vortex explosion, and the Sword of Power gets split into 2, and they disappear. And then when she finds out that she didn't know that he was He-Man, she gets super pissed and denounces her brand new promotion, cusses out her dad, basically says "fuck you" to the king and the queen, and storms out.
Now, I jumped in the middle of the conversation. Would I be able to just jump into this show and watch it and have an idea on what's going on, or would I need to know the previous team? Okay.
Yeah.
No, you don't need
Wait,
to.
Hold the fuck on. Stitch, you didn't watch He-Man?
I watched it like way back in the day, but it was like low on the bar in terms of like what I was really interested in. And like I had a bunch of the action figures. Like I probably had just under the amount of Transformers I had for some reason, but I don't remember any of the storyline except he would say on the Castle of Grayskull. I had the Battle Cat thing, and there was like Moss Man, and I had a bunch of those fucking characters and stuff, but I don't remember the actual storyline except He-Man hated Skeletor or whatever, vice versa, and I don't remember much of that. I never really like went back to go try to remember any of it.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to like go through like the old show, and you can pick this one up right away, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't because it changes a lot in the show. So
yeah.
You know what's funny is I think I've said on this podcast actually a few times where people have fond memories of the original He-Man, but if the animation was so fucking bad. There was like no backgrounds. Like they would have literally nothing in the background. Maybe a hill. You know what I mean? There's no sky. Like, I was just like, no fucking clouds. It was like the cheapest fucking animation in the 80s, but...
the first episode... sorry, I was just going to say, the first episode of He-Man, if you watch it, you'll be like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Like, even... we talked about this in the podcast before, but, like, there's a scene where Tila, she's, like, running away, and, like, it's, like, a view from her back, but then she runs back toward the camera, and the way her armor is set up, it looks like she has a dick, dude. It's just fucking funny.
It doesn't... The show did not age well. But we all have very fond memories of He-Man. But
and a lot of people are trying to fight for it. But go ahead.
Yeah, like don't stand for the old show. If you're standing for the old show, go back and watch the old show and then tell me that it was even good. Like it was okay, I guess, but it is. First of all, it doesn't stand the test of time at all, and second of all, the animation was shitty, and they didn't put a whole lot of budget into just like basic background sets. It's like it's kind of fucking cringe.
Yeah, I think Mattel, the owners of He-Man, I believe they released all the seasons on YouTube.
It used to be on Netflix. Netflix had all of it, and then this show's been rebooted, and there's like a prequel movie, I guess, because
Oh, this shit isn't free. That's fucked up.
Probably
yeah.
somewhere.
So originally, I guess the first instance of this is the Secret of the Sword, where they introduced both He-Man and She-Ra, and then there's the animated series. But I guess not. The animated series came out in '83. Then '85 was the Secret of the Sword. I guess it like reintroduces. It introduces She-Ra and like some prequel lore, and then there's She-Ra, and then there's the New Adventures of He-Man, which came out in 1990 and only lasted a year. Then there's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe in 2002.
Yeah.
And then we didn't see nothing again until 2018 She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. And now we have Masters of the Universe Revelation. Now, Revelation, I think a lot of people might be confused at thinking that this is a reboot or a remake.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not. This is literally a continuation of the original 80s. Like, the fight between Skeletor and He-Man was still kind of going on. And then basically Skeletor launches his ultimate plan, and we see it come through and ends up killing him and He-Man.
Yeah, I like what they did, even though people are mad about certain things. I'm just like I thought they did a pretty good job. I understand some of the more valid complaints, but like the ones just He-Man not being there, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I'm glad that we had, showing the women being strong. Like, okay, like it was well done. So it wasn't. I didn't feel like the whole. I don't know how to even put it anymore because it sounds so stupid to even fucking say out loud. But I didn't feel like it was sort of like trying to like demean men or some shit like that, or making it like a raw girl thing. I didn't get any of that fucking vibe from this show. If you did, I'm sorry, your life is terrible. I didn't get any of that feeling. I just thought I thought that the story. I felt like somebody wrote this that cared about the story of Eternia as a whole and that whole universe. The fact that this one person wasn't in it for a while, I think it added to the lore of the whole thing. And he's back now. And
yeah, he's back now.
I know there's going to be 5 more episodes. I expect him to be in the 5 episodes.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, he's not. I don't really care if he's not, because we have... I mean, Tila being a badass, to me, I was just like, wow, that's fucking cool. Like, she was a legit badass.
Yeah.
I mean,
like that.
in the original, she was his bodyguard, which is... Well, she's Prince Adam's bodyguard. I think a lot of people seem to forget that. Prince Adam, even though he was yoked as fuck, his bodyguard was Tila. She went with him pretty much everywhere. And so he would like run off to a little vine opening, and then he'd transform into He-Man, and then he'd come back out and be like, "Oh, let's do this, Tila," and then he'd like fight Skeletor and shit.
Yeah.
Wait.
I know a lot of people were complaining about the dialogue. Some people were saying the dialogue wasn't that great, or the voice acting was kind of subpar.
Hold on. Who the fuck said the voice acting was subpar? It's a who's who of voice acting.
It is, but some people say they're calling the voice acting pedestrian. Some of them have said it's subpar. I was like, okay. I mean, people were like, I don't care if it's Sarah Michelle Gellar, like, this is terrible voice acting,
I honestly never realized it was her until like the credits started rolling. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar. You have Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah.
Mark Hamill was Skeletor. Yeah, I knew Mark Hamill. I was like, that's fucking Mark Hamill. That's dope.
Oh yeah, and then you had Lena Headey, Cersei from Game of Thrones, Evil Lynn, and then like I heard, there's people complaining like, oh my god, like there's a scene where Orko and Evil Lynn are talking, and he tells her his given name and what the story was behind that, and then she tells him that basically I added evil to my name, and people were complaining. I'm like, dude, did you really think, like, look at all the names from fucking He-Man. Most of them are ridiculous. You have Ram Man, Manny Faces, Trap Jaw, Merman. Like, come on.
Trap Jaw, I remember.
Beastman, Triclops. This dude has 3 fucking face, 1 eye, but it has 3 like fucking rotations. And you're gonna complain that some chick's name is Lynn. even though she added evil to her name, people are saying, "Oh, that was a lame line." I'm like, how is that lame? Like everyone else has a lame fucking name. The only one with the badass name is Skeletor. Skeletor
Yeah.
has the
Hold
best
on.
name.
And Hero.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So
Oh
wait,
my fucking goodness.
wait, so I looked up a picture of Prince Adam versus He-Man, and like this is the difference between the two
Yeah.
fuckers. Like, okay, one's got blonde hair, one's a fucking redhead or orange hair or some shit.
Orange and one's blonde.
It's so
Yeah,
They're both
like-
yellow as fuck.
Yeah, like even if you look at like the way their pecs are drawn, like they're damn near the same fucking pec stroke. Even their arms, like holy shit, that shit's fucking funny.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. I actually love what they did with Evelyn because it made her like
Me too.
a kind of like a complicated character because she was like evil in the beginning and then she seemed like she's gonna be kind of a good guy and then she went back to evil in the end, sort of.
Well, then, like-
maybe so.
Well, also like how she kind of talked about how like she was enticed by Skeletor and like she dedicated her whole life. Like even I thought this shit was awesome in the fucking opening credits. Like when they show Skeletor, Evelyn is like laying down on the ground in like her fucking Princess Leia pose. I was like, holy shit, they really added that artwork to this fucking show. But yeah, just to kind of get a little bit more of her backstory was kind of cool and how she's like, I don't know, she's a badass in her rights, but like, there's good in her, but then once it came down to it, she's just looking out for number fucking
She
one.
wants that skeleton
Yeah,
dick.
I mean, yeah, she wanted to get boned.
Well, it's funny because like Skeletor had
That was a good one.
who was it? Somebody asked Skeletor like, why does he do what he does, and he was like, who? He basically said, what bitches are gonna fuck this face or something like that. Like he said something not along that line, but he basically said like, there's no woman that will lay with this face or something like that. I was like, holy shit! Like it comes down to what Kronos had said like in the past about how like if you ain't busting nuts, you just be basically becoming like an evil person or whatever.
Yeah. What's funny is that Skeletor. So in the last He-Man show, I think it was 2002, which is funny because I didn't know it came out because I was overseas at the time. I was on the Mew, but I saw like the old like segment of like how Skeletor became Skeletor, and he used to be like kind of a handsome guy. And then
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah.
became Skeletor. So thought that was like really. Hopefully they go back into that in this one because I think that people don't understand why he has a skeleton face and why he's blue. So yeah.
Another little fun fact. This was in the Toys That Made Us. They did a thing on He-Man, and they mentioned how they use the same body mode for He-Man as they use for Skeletor, so their bodies are pretty much interchangeable. Like if you look at the two toys side by side, they're the exact same body mold.
I feel
That
like
one
all the
blue,
He-Man
one
toys,
Yeah, they
I
probably
feel like
are.
they all have the same fucking body molds. They just
Yeah.
change the color dye, and I think the hardest part are the heads. Because many faces, you had to press a button, and his face would flip, so he'd have a different
Yeah,
face.
he had like a dial on top of his head.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, remember I used to have the skunk
Trapjaw.
toy.
Trapjaw also
Oh,
has like
some
a
guy.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I
the-
mean,
The skunk toy, it stinked. It had like a little scent of like a skunk. It didn't last long. Once you open the box, the smell basically went away within like a week or two.
A week or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, but it still had it had a bad stank to it.
that's all bad. I mean, basically, this was like it felt like this was kind of like a Lord of the Rings, but He-Man like lore. I mean, everyone was doing this for the best of Eternia, even though they knew they were. A lot of them were there, except for the new chick. They were there when Skeletor and He-Man fought, saw them explode, and they find out that the whole planet is in jeopardy. So they mark out on an adventure to save the planet. And everyone's mad. They're like, well, this is supposed to be He-Man. Where's He-Man at? Well, this says Masters of the Universe. That's the title of the show. And there are other people within there that are badass, just like He-Man. So we're seeing a bit of that. And apparently that's not good enough for a lot of people. So I'm just like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I enjoyed this. I mean, they even made Merman kind of interesting, even though he was kind of useless originally. He actually showed some like cojones in this, and that he actually mattered because he got them to where they need to be. They go to heaven and hell in the show. We get to see Hero we find out that the first, I guess, person to wield the sword of power was a guy that sells you your insurance. Works for all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also it's also funny because like the way the whole masters of not the master universe, but the hero or the shit, I don't even know what they fucking call them. But those who wield the sword, it's almost like the same thing like with Avatar. Like once you have that ability to the Avatar, like you're able to at least you're able to contact the other avatars from the past. But not, well, I guess you're not really able to contact them with the sword, but like it kind of has that same thing. Like there's like a long list of people who had this mantle before, and like once you die, you basically get free access to heaven, where you're able to take on any of the body forms you want, and you're able to hang out with the other, not He-Mans.
He
I
people.
guess they are He people. Yeah.
The he
Well, there's
people.
one He-She on there.
Just the way Prodigy likes it.
Yeah. But no, like I was just gonna say that one thing that shocked me, which I didn't realize until like I watched kind of the Master of the Universe after party show that they have on Netflix, was that Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, is the voice of Merman on the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what the fuck? I didn't even realize that was his voice until like I watched the thing, and that was kind of cool because we have Henry Calvin, or not Henry Calvin, Mark Hamilton as Skeletor. And just, that's another iconic voice. Like right when I heard him, I was like, oh shit, this is Mark. This is definitely his fucking style. But I think he did a really good job with Skeletor. But for the voice of Mothman, that voice actor is actually the original voice actor of Skeletor from the original animated series. Which I thought it was kind of cool for them to bring him in this, because I don't know, it's really rare for them to bring like some original characters onto like not a rebranding, but like kind of a sequel to the show, basically. I guess they do it with. I think Transformers, they do a good job because I think they bring back.
They brought back everybody.
Optimus
Yeah, they
Prime.
bring back Peter to do Optimus Prime voice. Like even in the fucking movies, they have him.
They brought back Peter. They brought back Frank Welker. They even brought back Judd Nelson to be Hot Rod and Rodimus Prime. So they brought back a lot of people. Unfortunately, some of the voice actors that passed away, like Casey Kasem, Leonard Nimoy, like can't bring everybody back. So, but yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
since Stitch is here, can we talk about Sports Go Sports?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, Stitch, have you been watching the Olympics at all?
Yeah, I've been tuning in. It's pretty cool. I kind of enjoy it being in a completely different side of the globe because like late at night when I'm up after like the kids down, I can like turn to it and it's like going on live like out in Japan and stuff, which is pretty cool. And I know they replay it like during the day. I guess during like prime time hours for here, like us in the States or like people that are like up at normal hours. But it's pretty cool. And then with like the Roku TV, you can pretty much search by whatever sport. Where back in the day when you just had cable, essentially you were just getting your track and field, swimming, diving, gymnastics, and you were just at mercy for whatever it was that NBC gave you. But it's pretty dope that you can like watch like random stuff. Like I was watching like dressage just so I could laugh at the horses and everything. And I watched some judo. Surfing has been really cool to watch. And then I've always had a thing for like fencing and archery, but it's been really cool to watch the Olympics on that level of it.
Yeah, that's been it's been really cool to like having like the customized apps on various platforms. Do their things. I mean, actually, shout out to Amazon too because they did. They had like a whole thing where they were doing the Paralympics and the Olympics kind of together as like an exclusive thing, which I thought was pretty cool for the trials. I don't know if they're doing it now for the actual Olympics, but at least for the trials, they were showing like a lot of the Paralympic stuff and the Olympics kind of together, which I think is cool because it's pretty rare that you get the Paralympics and Olympics together. As far as I know, from what I remember, usually they are in different years. But obviously because of COVID, the years kind of blur together. So in having them explain to a layperson people's different disabilities and that they have like this different like SB score for how disabled you are on certain events. Was very interested in learning about. Like I learned a lot from just watching like a couple of hours of the Paralympics. Thought that was dope. But going into like the actual Olympics for Tokyo, like first of all, I'm surprised they're even still doing it. To be honest with you, I was considering not watching it at all because I didn't watch any football at all because of COVID, and I was like, "Why are you guys still doing football? Like, I'm not gonna support this shit because people are getting sick still." But with the Olympics, I was like, you know, I need to watch some of it. I'm gonna try to watch some of it, even though I feel bad for Japan for putting it on because they're seeing a huge spike in COVID cases because of the Olympics. Like we have stupid motherfuckers from America where you can easily get the vaccine that are going over there unvaccinated, and I'm just like, why? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, and people over in Japan, I think it spiked like 150% in Japan so far with COVID cases because they don't have access to the vaccines as well as we do in America, which is kind of weird. But I had to get over it and just like watch. You know,
like I know some of the players also are getting COVID as well, and it makes you think because I think one of the requirements for the players to go there was for them to have a negative test results. But it's like, yeah, with some of these countries, they kind of do a little bit of the doping. They try to keep that shit under wraps. I'm pretty sure they probably do the same thing with COVID. Like, oh, this person is vaccinated, or they got a negative COVID test. We're okay to send them to the Olympics because they're the best of the best.
Yeah,
at least that's a conspiracy theory I'm throwing out there.
No, it's not. I don't think it's conspiracy at all. Go ahead, Stitch.
I was going to say, the people in Japan, a lot of them don't even want it there. A lot of I know Toyota, which was one of, I guess, the main sponsors, they withdrew from even having their name attached to the entire thing because they're just like, yo, we don't want this here. We got more important things going on and everything, but because of how everything's pretty much the money's already been kind of invested in building all these like arenas and all this other stuff. And I think I saw you post something about how these Olympics go to like certain cities and uproot all these big ass like venues and everything. And then once the Olympics roll out, they just pretty much become like ghost towns and shit like that. It's just like dead ass abandoned buildings and shit.
Yep.
But I mean, obviously the Olympics was pushed back. And I guess in a weird way, Japan's on the hook already for all this money because they put this bid in however many years in advance to have it there. They built all the shit there, and they were pretty much ready to go and dropped however X many millions of dollars to have it there. So they've already lost the money. So they're trying to, I guess, recoup the money that they've already had by, I guess, just trying to plow through it and have the Olympics go on, even though it's obviously a bad idea and citizens don't want it. And it's just a shit situation. I mean, there's no fans there. Even at the opening ceremonies, when normally you have like an awesome ass scene where the stadium's full and all the Olympic athletes are like walking in from each country, and you'll have like the lighting of the torch. I think it was Atlanta where you had like Muhammad Ali. It was actually an archer, or Muhammad Ali gave the torch to like this archer who had it on a bow. On an arrow, and then they shot the arrow into the torch thing and lit it. And it's always like something pretty dope. But you're doing it's in an empty stadium, so it's like who are the athletes like waving to and shit in the empty stadium? It's like for who, for what? So it's been a mess all around, just from the structure standpoint of it, and just no fans and just empty arenas, no crowd. It's just really weird and awkward. But I mean, it's the Olympics, I guess. So I watch just to watch.
Yeah, you know, I'm a huge fan of the Olympics in general, but I just feel like this year. I mean, last year they pushed it back. I was like, okay, makes sense. This year, I would have had no problem with them pushing it back again, because it's not worth a single life. It's not, and somebody could very likely die in Japan from these rising COVID rates. Is the Olympics really worth a life? No, I mean,
and then bringing it back to their countries, which obviously aren't as vaccine equipped. I mean, you go into like I'm just throwing out a country like Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what how much medicine they have, but you're risking athletes coming back to their family and loved ones or whatever, and getting them infected off something they got at the Olympics and stuff. So it's essentially a possible super spreader event, and then you're sending all these people back home across the globe. Just
Yeah,
shitty idea.
yeah, it's just it seems reckless to me. I have a solution for it, but I guess I'll talk about it. I guess sort of at the end of the Olympics conversation because I want to talk about some other things first before I even get there, because there are things that are kind of important to me to talk about with Simone Biles. Yeah, so Simone Biles. So even before what happened, which we'll get into in a minute, as I was watching her like build up into the Olympics, she's the most. I think she's the most decorated gymnast of all time. All right, going into this Olympics, so she's already amazing. They call her the GOAT for a reason, the greatest of all time for a reason. She does things that are so difficult that they deduct her points because nobody else can do it, which is fucked up.
Hella fucked up.
So she's like, as I'm watching her like do her thing, like even in the trials, even doing like some of her Olympic events, I'm like, I feel like she is trying so hard to hold on to this greatest of all time status that she's making like what are minuscule mistakes, but they're only minuscule mistakes because she's doing things that are so difficult. And the fact that she's doing this, they're knocking down her points anyway. I'm like, why is she even doing this when she's already cemented herself into being the greatest of all time? And it's obvious that this whole Olympic committee, like all the judges, are against her for doing too well. And and I'm like, I hope that she does well in the Olympics, but at the same time, it's like they've been against her since like the trials, even before the trials. And like when she does like when you watch her do her floor routine, and she does what's called the Biles, which is named after her because she's the only person that can fucking do it, and they knock down her points because she's doing it because it's too hard and people can't do it. It's like, come on, man! Like you're putting all this pressure on this person, this really young person, to like do these things, but then she's getting penalized for it, and then putting all the weight of of America on her shoulders to like be number one, and it's like, man,
Taxing.
like, yeah, just like fuck all that. And when she said that, when she announced that, she's gonna pull out of the competition, I'm like, good for you. Like seriously, I don't even give a shit like what problems you had. Like she cited some mental issues, and that when she was doing like a certain move where she was supposed to go around like 2.5 times, and she went around 1.5 times because she didn't know where she was in the actual space of doing the move. I'm like, all right, I mean, they put so much pressure on you that small little mistake is detrimental to like your whole the rest of your Olympic career. And when she pulled out of the Olympics, I kept thinking about Carrie Strug. Remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was in 1996. Carrie Strug. I watched. Well, I used to watch the Olympics all the fucking time because I was a track guy. But I used to love watching gymnastics and everything because I love watching all that stuff. Carrie Strug, she was a really good gymnast, and she broke her ankle, and they made her do the vault on a broken ankle. And yeah, she got the gold medal on a broken ankle, and she, after doing the vault, but then guess what? She had to retire because of injuries at 18 years old.
Yeah, the thing with Strung, and it's interesting once you like go back and like I guess look at all the details on what had happened, because I remember watching it when it happened, and she did the first vault, and like she like sort of couldn't put weight like on her like left leg after she did the routine off the I can't even think of the name, but you run and vault. I guess it's just called the vault or whatever. And so I guess she had to do it again. But what most people forget or don't even remember, partially because the coach was an idiot, was that the team had already clinched it at that point. So essentially all she needed to do was just she could have done a cartwheel off the thing and it would have been okay. But because her coach was an idiot and didn't fucking do the math right, he fucking coached her up like, oh, you got to do it one more time, blah, 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 blah. And this fucking, I'd have to look at the age because I don't know if she was 18 at the time, because I mean, they all look like they're 12.
I looked it up. She was 18. She had
she was 18. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But made her do it again, and essentially that was her last fucking vault that where she competed, and then on the sort of the behind the scenes dark side of the whole Olympic gymnastics women's side, where you have the massive history of sexual abuse and grooming and sexualization of these girls and stuff, and essentially that you're there, and I don't want to make generalizations because I don't know personally the whole gymnastics side of it and what actually goes on. I'm just sort of reciting stories and what I've seen in like the news and what arrests like actual members of like coaching staffs from the United States national team has had, but they're like groomed at like an early age and like coached up just to be like, you do it what your coach says. It's not like you can really say no because you're like you get in gymnastics when you're like crazy young. It's not like you just, oh yeah, I just feel like I'm gonna start gymnastics at 16. Like no,
it's like 4.
You're yeah, exactly. You're in 4 learning how to tumble and all kinds of stuff, and at 12, and even on that 96 team, there was a girl, Dominique Moceanu, who she came out and spoke today, but she got a gold medal at that Olympics and she was 14. And she tweeted out about on one of her balance beam routines, she essentially landed on her head. And it ended up she had like some sort of like cracked something, not in her back, but like they didn't even like bother to check her. They were just, she was saying like the coaches just told me, go out there and do it again. You have to do it. And she was like, I was too scared to say no. I couldn't say no because I'm 14 years old. All I know is to say yes to my coaches and to do what it is that I'm told. So I'm happy that we are now having this whole discussion, and we're seeing these young women athletes be able to exert themselves and stand up for themselves and say, yeah, like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm taking some time out for me. I don't care if you came to see me play at Wimbledon or if you fucking flew across to see me in Japan. This is my body. This is my career. This is my personal health. And if I don't feel safe doing it, whether it's mentally I'm not in the game, whether it's tennis or mentally when you're doing gymnastics, because essentially gymnastics is you're diving without water, and essentially you have to land on your feet or you're going to be hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you can't find the ground or you aren't confident in your ability to know where you are in space when you're flipping and twisting upside down, that's a fucking problem, and you're going to get yourself seriously hurt. It's not like people try to talk. I'm sorry, going on a little rant, but people try to compare like, oh, Michael Jordan in '96 with his flu game and blah. I'm like, what's the worst that could have happened with Michael Jordan or whatever? He would have vomited on the court. That would have been it. Like he would have what? Well, you have this girl who's doing balance beam, high bar routines and stuff like that, and she's like, yo, I can't locate myself like in terms of time and space when I'm flipping through the air. I might break my fucking neck or whatever, and I just don't feel comfortable doing this. And people are just like, you're being selfish because you were gonna lose and all this dumb shit. I'm just like, you can't even do a round off, and you're telling this greatest of all time gymnast that she's quitting and turning her back on her fucking country when she's already gotten more medals than you've even like seen in your lifetime. It's sickening.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm gonna jump real quick. So this over the weekend, the Sweetness's cousin had a birthday party, or her nephew, our nephew, and they had a jump house. And I went in there and I jumped and I did a front flip, and like I was thinking when I was doing a front flip, like I don't know how I want to fucking land this. Like holy shit! And then when you mentioned how like with her, she talked about how she can't figure out like her headspace and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I can never be a fucking gymnast because that shit's fucking scary. Who are you gonna say, Cronus?
Yeah, no, I was just like with Michael Jordan, though, people when they compare Michael Jordan having the flu and playing, it's like, okay, I mean, first of all, you're demanding that Michael Jordan plays with the flu. Like he doesn't have to. He also does not have to play with the flu. That was his decision. If he would have said no, I'm too sick, which a lot of fucking athletes do, then it'd have been fine. Or it should be fine. I don't think that people that have never been an athlete really understand like what it's like to like push your limits physically and then having like an off day. And not I've been an athlete for most of my life. All right, and especially as I'm aging, like there's days where like you just can't perform the way that you used to perform. Or even when I was young, there was like when I was like actually competing, You know, like track. It's just like some days you ain't got it. You know, and to have somebody pushing for you, and then for these fucking clowns to get mad that, oh, you can't perform for me today. It's like, motherfucker, what do you do in your life? You know what I mean? That you're demanding from me to perform for you. You know what I mean? Like they try to make it sound like she's not proud to be an American. Whether she is or not is irrelevant. If she feels like her safety is in jeopardy, then it's her right to step back. I saw the most ridiculous shit that I saw was people saying that, oh well, she was taking up a spot on the team when other women could have, you know, taken that spot. Yeah, no, because how far would the gymnastics team gotten without her? Seriously, think of that. Would they have gotten in the Olympics and gotten to even silver without her? No, they probably wouldn't have, because she's the best in the fucking world and everybody knows it. So for that whole bullshit argument, oh, she's taking up a spot on the team, it's like saying Michael Jordan's taking up a spot on the team because he broke his ankle and now he can't compete. Like, what? He's still the fucking best. You wouldn't have got there if he wasn't the best. You know, these fucking crazy ass double standards that I see from Americans. I've seen so many people that are friends of mine that have talked shit about America, like losing. Like, there was one guy in particular that was saying good that America didn't, for the first time in like 40-something years, that America didn't get a gold medal on the first day. And then after that, every single face that I saw after that, he was like, oh, these, you know, he was posting all these white faces, oh, how good that they won.
Oh,
because
God.
they got that gold medal. I'm like, you're a fucking racist, man. You don't even fucking realize it. Like, seriously. Like,
And then
it's fucking, it's so insane to me.
they have alternates in team sports like that.
Yeah.
They have alternates that go with the team. It wasn't like she didn't compete and her entire squad had to forfeit and they couldn't go on or whatever. They have the starting lineup or whatever, and then they have like 2 or 3 alternates or whatever that travel with the team, and it's they're there to be ready in case a person can't go. Whether she snapped her fucking leg in half and broke her fucking fibula, then she would jump in. If she had the chicken pox or caught COVID or just wasn't mentally there, then okay, next woman up or whatever. And that's what that person is trained all her life to do and be ready for, is to go do that vault or do that floor routine or whatever it is. And that's what they're there for. And then, so that whole point and argument about, oh, she let her team down, like, no, they didn't. No, she didn't, or whatever. And then she also pulled out of like the individual routines, which does nothing to hurt the fucking country or anything. That's her saying like, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm obviously not going to win a medal, so that's fine, or whatever. If that's her decision that she wants to do, then that's fine. I'm fine with that. I don't have this sense of nationalism when I'm watching the Olympics. Like, I want to watch the best person win. And if it's someone from Russia or someone from fucking Brazil that happens to be the best fucking swimmer in the world, awesome, more power to them. I was fucking hyped up more than I could ever be, and I'm sure Kronos will say the same thing, when I saw Usain Bolt fucking blow motherfuckers away in the 100 and 200 meters. And he is not American. He's from fucking Jamaica. And am I mad saying like, oh, fucking Justin Gatling, you piece of shit, you suck, train harder? Like, nah, I'm fucking go Bolt. I want to see some greatness. Like, I watch the Olympics to see greatness. I don't care which flag they wave up when it's done and over with. I want to see the best athlete win. And if an athlete from whatever country doesn't perform that day or feels like they can't give it their all, then I applaud them for being there. They trained all their life to be there, but somebody obviously beat them out that day, and kudos to that person from whatever fucking country that they are. I applaud them, and they are the best at that sport that day in the world, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is that this is literally like a narrative for America. This is, honestly, for me, and this is not a stretch for me to say this, this is why we have fucking a problem with violence in America. Like, seriously, because people, they don't know how to just, like, fucking chill. You know what I mean? Like, people, you can't have off days in America. You know what I mean? You can't just take some mental health days off. Like, we can have somebody shoot up a school, and he can go home, or not go home. He can be taken into custody alive and go to Burger King. But then you have, and nobody questions his Americanism. Nobody talks about how he's betraying his country. But you have
Even
the
even
fucking
insurrection.
the best in the world at this sport, and she is mentally not there to complete her sport, and all of a sudden she's a traitor to America. Like,
But
are
it
you
also
fucking serious?
it also kind of made me think of was it Caitlin Ohashi, the one
Oh,
U.S.
yes.
gymnast? Oh, gotta go super thick. But no, I remember her talking about how like she got injured, and she didn't want to go back and compete just because she talked about how like demanding it is to be in Olympics. Like like the not just the workout and stuff like that. It's just it isn't fun anymore. Like it's so it's not about it being competitive. It's so like you're being forced to do something that you used to love doing. And I think that's the one kind of a downside with the Olympics is that, or at least for a gymnast, I'm not sure how it is for the other sports, but it's like yeah, you have to be great. If you're not great, then just fucking leave. And that pressure and demand is so fucking high for these gymnasts that I can understand why homegirl she took a mental break, or she took a mental break because having that pressure of the world looking at you and expecting you to be the fucking greatest of all time, and then have like these people basically shit on you saying like, hey, you did something great, but we don't like that. Like, stop it. You need to stop doing that because you're better than everybody else. And that's just fucked
Especially
up.
at the age of 20. She's 24 now, so at 20 was when she competed in the last Olympics. So you're 20 years old, girl. You're a 20-year-old female that's been doing gymnastics. I don't know if she was on the one like 8 years ago. I'm sure she's been competing at a high level of gymnastics. She's probably been like 12 or whatever like that. But that's a fucking ridiculous amount of pressure for anyone to have or whatever. Michael Jordan's flu game wasn't when he was 24 years old and shit like that. It wasn't on a national stage. And when Michael Jordan was doing that, he was getting paid millions of fucking dollars because that was his fucking job. Most of these some Olympic athletes, they do get endorsement deals, but those are few and far between. You get your Michael Phelps, you'll get your Carl Lewis, your Bolt, and I'm sure Biles has some endorsement deals. But we're not talking about Michael Jordan money or NBA player money where they're getting paid annually $20 million just for doing whatever. It's they train all their lives to get a medal around their chest, and it's not even really, it's not about money for them. It really isn't.
Hey, Cakeman in the chat had mentioned that apparently he's saying that Michael Jordan didn't have food poisoning. He didn't have the flu. He actually had food poisoning.
Yeah, he
that's
did.
what they said in the Last Dance documentary. They sort of went over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's incredible to me that people are just so disgraceful. Like I saw a comment on Facebook yesterday where somebody said good that she's pulling out of the competition because now she doesn't have a chance to kneel in front of the flag. And I'm like, bitch, she's never done that. But I mean, if she wanted to do it, okay. Like, she's still bringing home fucking gold medals. Like, what the fuck are you doing in your life? Are you pulling home gold medals?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The one
It's like
Picking for gold up his nose.
It's like where Chris Rock talked about the OJ prize or whatever. Like, I didn't get an Olympic prize when whoever came home with an Olympic medal. Where's my Olympic medal gold prize that somebody else won? Like, does my life become easier if Simone Biles gets a gold or a bronze or doesn't get a medal at all? No, it doesn't fucking matter or whatever. So who the fuck cares what she does with her medal? She's the one that earned the spot to be on that stage. And if she wanted to take a knee, put a fucking fist up, or walk off the podium, I don't care because she earned the right to do whatever she wanted to do by being the best gymnast in the world at those games.
Yeah, the thing about like the people that they get mad about taking a knee or doing the fist up for the flag or whatever. People get mad about that by saying, well, you're disrespecting America, blah blah, but America gave you all this blah. Like, you don't even fucking get it. Like, that's irrelevant to, like, whatever the fuck you're saying. Like, they were just born here. Like, most Americans didn't pick to live here. You were just born here. You got fucking lucky. You got super lucky. Super lucky.
The lottery.
Yeah. And for somebody to be like, oh, well, they should be able to do that, blah, blah. I'm like, they were born here. And if their conditions in their lifetime in America were not your conditions, and you're not interested in like understanding like what the conditions were, then you can go just fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they want to take a knee, I don't give a shit. Take a fucking knee. You know, put your fist up. I don't care. It's your right. It's your fucking right.
And with the Olympics, like, it's isn't like, well, at least here in America, it's not like it's like a life or death situation. It's not like if the person didn't win gold, that the whole fucking family is gonna be slaughtered or whatever. But then also, it's in like, them winning gold is gonna bring in fucking world peace or some shit. Like, you know, the Olympics are just a competition of people playing against each other. There's people that would be from like China, but they'll compete under like Russia or whatever. So, like, the country that they represent doesn't even really fucking matter.
Yeah. All right. Real quick. Let's. Oh, Ninja, go ahead. What do you want to say?
I was gonna say, I don't know if y'all saw this. I guess he's a conservative podcaster. I don't remember his name. I saw this earlier, but he was going off. He called Simone selfish, and he said that she was weak. And he was saying that we're raising a generation of weak athletes or weak people in the U.S. because she basically quit. And I was just like, what the hell? And like, people came after this guy. I mean, on Twitter, because he has his podcast is filmed. I'm not sure where it's broadcasted, but he just kept going on and on about Simone Biles. And like, he's like, oh, she quit. Now I got to watch and see Russia win. Like, why is Russia winning? And I'm like, dude, why does this even matter to you? You don't even compete.
Jordan quit basketball to go play baseball for 2 years. Where was all the outrage for that? He quit after his father got murdered and stuff like that. Was he weak or whatever? Because he had a lot of shit that he was dealing with, and he decided to quit basketball or whatever, and he ended up coming back. But nobody says anything about that. But they want to just, flu game, but ignore and look over that whole little bloop of his timeline where he decided to be like, yo, I'm done with basketball for right now. I just, my heart's not in it. That's fine.
Yeah, fuck that guy, because calling her weak after she won 27 gold medals, 5 silver medals, and 4 bronze medals in her lifetime. What the fuck have you done, man? Was that guy the first in anything?
He's not winning any medal for podcasting.
Yeah, he's not first in anything. She's been first 27 fucking times in her life, and she's only 24 years old. Like, what?
Yeah.
Come on. Anyway, moving on a little bit. Still talking about the Olympics. I want to talk about really quick about the very strange.
Charlie Kirk. Sorry, that's the name of the guy.
Yeah,
Charlie
fuck
Kirk.
that guy. Talking about the Olympic Committee's a very strange implementation of uniforms for females, which I am fucking baffled about this shit. Because I'll give you some qualifications. So the Germany, let me talk about the first one I guess that came up was the Norwegian handball team shorts for females. They got fined because they decided to wear shorts instead of bikinis. They got fined for that. Okay. I guess Pink decided to pay the fines, which is cool. You know, it's pretty dope. But at the same time, Germany, for the female gymnastics, they decided to wear full bodysuits. So why isn't there the similar like fine for that? Which also, if you're in the Olympics, wear whatever the fuck makes you comfortable. Like, I don't give a shit like as long as if you're comfortable and it's not giving you an actual advantage, then wear whatever makes you comfortable. You know? And then also Alice Dearings, she's a black swimmer, and they wouldn't allow her to wear a certain swim cap that would help her natural black hair. Is amazing too. And also there was 2 other Olympians that were from Africa that were natural females that were disqualified from the Olympics because they had too high of natural testosterone levels. I'm just like, man, we gotta. I know I said it a bunch of times on this podcast about my issue with, you know, certain trans athletes competing against like women because of, you know, hormone levels and just natural like biological, like no matter what you do after a certain point in time, if you're a full-grown man and you transition to be a woman, you're still going to have mechanical advantages over women because our bodies are different. Like our hips are narrower, you know, our bones are denser, all that shit. Like those things are always going to be there. There needs to be a better way going forward to like figure all that shit out. You know what I mean? With like hormone levels, because I think if you're a natural woman and you just happen to have naturally high testosterone, then what the fuck? At the same time, though, you get into like the whole trans argument too. Like, well, they're women now. They might have higher testosterone or not. Like, they need to figure out like a better solution for this shit. So I'm more on the fence now with like trans athletes because of this situation. You know, it's kind of crazy. I know we have at least 1 or 2 trans athletes in the Olympics, and it's just like, instead of just like giving the blanket no, we need to like figure out a real solution to this thing and like figure out like a happy medium or like a better way to like a better test or something. There has to be something better that we can do for these people, because it's already happening now where you're sweeping up people that are definitely born a woman, but because they have natural higher testosterone, then they can't compete, and that's kind of fucked up. And they have to be black. So
it's interesting because like I remember, I can't remember what Olympics it was, but I remember U.S. had a new. I mean, this doesn't relate to like the whole trans people, but like I remember for the swim team, because I used to be a swimmer, and like I followed the whole. This was before even Michael Phelps.
We did a biathlon
but,
together,
like,
remember, man?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I fucked up because I was in the middle of the goddamn pool when the race goddamn started when I was doing my warm up.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember the U.S. they got penalized because U.S. created a new fucking like swimsuit that had like it almost had like gills on the side of it that made the athletes more aerodynamic so they can swim faster through the water, but they were penalized because of it because you know they had it was an advantage over everybody else, and it's like isn't that like the whole point of the Olympics? Like, you know, these people work out, they work harder, they do this, and like their body is physically built to have an advantage over other countries or whatever. And that, I mean, this is separate than like, you know, oh, why is she wearing a bathing suit because, you know, I want to see her body or whatever. Like, that doesn't make any sense for them to do that. But like once it comes to the whole transgen thing, like, yeah, it's such a hard topic to bring up just because, you know, you want everybody to have a fair advantage, but then also you want, you know, for the trans community to have that opportunity to represent for their identified gender in this sport because they love this sport or whatever not. But, you know, the fact that some African ladies had higher testosterone than other ladies, and that's kind of why they were penalized or kicked out like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like,
yeah, it's pretty fucking.
It's an advantage.
The what Blue was talking about, which is what I was talking about with uniforms. As long as it doesn't give you an advantage, I was thinking about exactly what Blue was talking about, and it's called the laser suit, the LZR racer suit. It is by Speedo, and it was back in 2008, and that's when you saw like records just fucking smashed.
They're breaking records with this suit on.
And so I was telling K-Mac, I was like, it's so hard to like for anybody right now, a swimmer, to like break any sort of world record because of that suit, because it was a full body suit and it made you just like glide through the fucking water easier, and so they just smashed a bunch of records.
Yeah, I just remember that the suit having like it didn't have like fish gills, but like the pattern, like the cutout pattern had like a fish scale look into it, and I was like, yo, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's a bunch of controversies with that. Oh, we lost Stitch.
We did. All right. Where we want to go next?
Wait, before we switch gears,
Sure.
oh shit, there was something I wanted to bring up. I fucking forgot. It was about the Olympics. Never mind. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Okay.
Maybe it will. Maybe it won't.
Maybe it won't.
Well, Activision Blizzard. I know that Old Ninja wanted to talk about this, so let's go.
Oh man. Did you guys like see some of this or hear about this? Or I know we briefly talked about it privately. Did y'all see any of this?
Yeah, I mean,
See some of
just
the
talk
reports?
about it. I mean, we
Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure that people are up to date.
Oh, I know what I want to bring up.
In case, okay.
Sorry. just kind of jump back to Olympics before we get into this. So I wanted to just bring up how like I believe with Michael Phelps, like he was stripped of some of his awards when they did a blood test of him and they found that he had marijuana in his system, right?
I don't think they stripped anything from him. He lost, I believe, some sponsors.
Endorsement. That's what it was.
Yeah, because it was out of competition and it's fucking dumb. But yeah.
But then like we had that one like
hold on,
racer.
let me rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
He popped for cannabis out of competition, but people forget that he also got DUI before all that shit happened. And so that I think it was more than once, I believe, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And he had to go into rehab more than once. So yeah.
But I'll then also bring up how like that one black athlete who she's missed Usain Bolt basically, like she's fucking badass on the track, and like wasn't she was pulled from the Olympics because she tested positive for cannabis, right?
Yes.
Or did they actually let her race?
No, she's not gonna
banned.
She's banned for like a couple of months, and it's gonna cover basically most of the Olympics. So.
And the whole reason why she was caught, whole reason why she smoked weed was because her mother had just died, and so she was dealing with depression, and that's the whole reason why she was doing that. But the fact that they basically kicked her out for that was some bullshit.
Yeah, let me say her name real quick. Sha'Carri Richardson is her name.
Yeah, and it wasn't the fact that her mom just died. She found out from a reporter during an interview, so she had no knowledge that her mom died. She got bombed. I don't know if it was live or whatever, but a reporter told her information she had no idea about. She had no idea her brought it to her attention, and that like made her, into some type of way. So she decided to, smoke some cannabis to calm herself down, and she knew that she was going to test positive, but she wanted to get her headspace right because she knew she had to get drug tested for the Olympics. So,
and then with that note, since this is back on here too, I also wanted to bring up. Have you guys heard about the whole NBA and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches thing?
What?
No.
Okay, so there's an article on ESPN. So this is like fucking fact basically, but like a lot of NBA players believe that eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is more beneficial to their endurance and gameplay than fucking like Gatorade is.
Bruh, when I was like a really good athlete, that was like all I ate was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
So okay, so this you probably had advantage of this because like the Warriors, the championship, the Oakland Warriors, like they believed in this whole peanut butter and jelly sandwich thing, that they had fucking buffets set up for the players, and like I guess there was one NBA. I didn't read the article. I'm like going off of an article or a podcast I was listening to, and basically there was one NBA player who, well, actually no, it was a YouTube channel I was watching. And yeah, one NBA player believed in the whole peanut butter and jelly. He believed in the whole peanut butter and jelly sandwich thing, and like the whole team got behind it, and they actually won the championship that year. And with the Warriors, with their whole peanut butter and jelly sandwich buffet, that they actually won 3 championships back to back because of the whole peanut butter and jelly thing. Even though the NBA commission had told them like, okay, there's no facts or proof behind the whole peanut butter and jelly thing. There's like it's not a true thing. But the Warriors continued doing it, and they won fucking 3 goddamn championships. And this is if you look up NBA and peanut butter and jelly sandwich, the first link will be to ESPN. So this isn't some random shit that Blue is bringing up. Like this is some shit that's published on a fucking national fucking news organization.
Superstition is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Even if it is doing like actual like biological shit and helping them with their endurance and cardio and all that stuff, it's still if it's working, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's gonna try to do something different.
Oh, so the first thing is ESPN, but this article's from 2017, and it's about the Bucks. This is the Bucks' secret weapon is a PB&J operation pregame, and it's buffet. That's hilarious. We got Stitch back really quick. I want to before we do the Activision Blizzard, got to bring this up. Stitch, you brought this to our attention. It's the docuseries on Netflix about people stealing shit. It's called Heist. So I watched I want
know
to
you
say
watched it.
75%. I watched 75% of this. This is crazy. This is the whole I guess mantra or saying that true life is always stranger than fiction, because this shit was crazy. There's no way people did this, but yeah, they ended up doing this. They literally brought in all kind of stuff. Tell us about this. This was madness.
Oh man, it was good. I was up. It was just one late night where I'm up. The kid finally goes down, so I was like, all right, let me find something on Netflix. And then I see this thing called like Heist, and I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. I like a good crime docuseries thing, and I see it's like based on like actual true events. So I was like, all right, this is dope. So it's broken up into 6 episodes, and there's 3 stories. So each story has like a part 1, a part 2, part 1, part 2, whatever. And they go over these like famous heists that took place that people were getting away with or got away. I don't want to spoil anything too much or whatever, but either were getting away or got away with it completely, and pretty much how they did it and everything. And we're talking about like millions of dollars. The first one was an armored truck heist at a casino in Vegas. This girl who met this guy who was an actual bank robber who in like Brazil or something, got out on after doing his time, ends up being this chick, grooms her into becoming a armored truck driver for like Brinks or Garza or something like that. And she's working Loomis. Okay, yeah. She's working the casino route in Vegas where they go do circus, Bally's or whatever, that whole loop and everything. And he grooms her into helping him out with a heist to pull it off. She's pretty much the truck driver working with 2 other people. They go and do the routines and stuff. And then after a while, when they go in, they go in one way to the casino. She's supposed to drive the truck around to, I guess, the backside of the casino after they go to the money room and get the money and whatever. And she's, I guess, at the last casino that they're supposed to stop in, the 2 guys get out of the truck because they explain it's normally a 3-man team, 2 people with cash, 1 in the car. And those 2 go out for making the last pickup. Truck's already full with the money from the other previous like 3 or 4 casinos that they went to, and they got like $7 million pretty much in cash in the fucking truck. And she just bounces and heads off to the meetup spot, gets in a costume, airport, and they fly off to like fucking all over the place doing some Where in the World's Carmen Sandiego type shit. And it's pretty fucking dope how they pull it off, and then the whole story behind.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, because the crazy thing about this involves satanic sex, blood magic, and because it's literally featured in there, and what the fuck, like crazy, like Rasputin style, like Rasputin style indoctrination, and then like the guy. He's like a fucking published author. He wrote like several poetry books, which in turn got him out of a life imprisonment sentence. So he got paroled. I guess they weren't going to let him out, but because of the books that he wrote and authors around the world vouching for this dude, got him out of prison.
Who? The first guy?
Yeah, the first guy. Did you miss that part? Because that's very early on. That's what got him out. That's when they were finding out about him. He wrote numerous poetry books. He had authors write into his parole board to say that he needs to be released. It was fucking crazy.
I'm sorry. It cut out when you were saying the first guy you're talking about, the Vegas
guy? First guy. Yeah, Vegas guy. Did you miss that part where he wrote poetry books? That's what got him released on parole.
Oh, when his original arrest.
His original arrest. Yes. No. His original arrest. When he was, that's why he's a career criminal, because he robbed another fucking money.
He's armored truck guy.
Service.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it was so dope to see, and then the hysterical one where I was busting your balls saying you were the guy that wouldn't stop going to the fucking strip club after they robbed the motherfucker.
That ain't me.
I was like, this is old ninja right away.
Nope.
The other one they hit up this like this cargo plane delivery. It's like the Lufus. I can't. Lufus
That one I
or
think was
whatever.
Brinks. So one was Loomis, the other was Brinks.
I'm talking about the ones from the people in Miami with
Yeah,
the airplane
they robbed Brinks.
that was on the pallets.
Yeah.
No, that was sitting in the cargo thing. They didn't hit the.
I get it, but the money was being delivered by Brinks, and that's how they found out about it. The guy worked for Brinks. He's like, guess
And
what?
that
They
would-
drop off the money. They leave this out in the open. Literally, there's like 6 people with no weapons watching like tens of
30
millions
million?
of dollars.
Yeah, it was like 30 million just chilling, and the only protection that they had was a yellow line saying like
Oh,
don't cry.
don't cry. Yeah.
Can I tell you a
So they
story?
fuck-
Can I tell you a true story for a minute? All right.
Yeah.
So back when I was doing I was an on-site guy doing installs for various storage area networks and stuff like that. Every now and again, I would get like weird jobs from my employer to like do like super easy jobs, and one of them was literally for Brinks. And it was like 3 jobs in a row where I'd like basically it was super easy. I'd like just install some fucking random ass server at Brinks location. And so the first job that I do, I was at a Brinks location, and basically like where they had like all their money. Well, not like all their money, like because they have them all like all over the place. But I pull up to this place, and it's like in like some weird like alley, in kind of like not the middle of nowhere, but like in a nondescript location. And I pull up, I knock on the, I ring the doorbell. I come through a man trap, which is basically like they let you in a door, they close the door behind
Lock
you,
it.
they lock it, and then you talk and say who you are, show your credentials, and then the door in front of you, after you are verified, then you can walk to the next door. It's a man trap. So I come in. I was like, all right.
Is it different from a voodoo trap?
Yeah, very
Oh,
different from food trap. So I come in this, through the door into like their actual facility, and I meet the guy who's like, the main guy, and we're bullshitting, and he was a Marine, I was a Marine, so we hit it off right away. Cool. So I go to like do my server install, and it's basically like this super tiny like rack, and I'm installing this thing, and to the left of me is a pallet of money. A pallet of money. The vault is totally open, full of more money. And when I say a pallet of money, like it's literally stacked at least 3.5 feet tall, full of fucking $100 bills.
Mm-hmm.
And behind me is all of the surveillance equipment that they have on site. And then to the right of me is all their weapons. And so I'm sitting there like, huh. Like,
I can change some life.
I could kill all of you and take all this money. Obviously, that's when it becomes complicated. But it's just like, I never saw so much money in my entire life. I saw, I don't know how many millions it was, but it was definitely in the millions of just cold hard cash, just sitting there, and with guns to my right. And I'm just like, fuck.
Did it? If you had took all that money, you would have got all the money, you would have got all the power, and you would have got all the bitches.
Yeah,
Scarface.
The one episode, it was hilarious because there were the cameras in the garage. It was like a warehouse sort of garage, and the cameras didn't work for years. It was just an open ass garage door, and they just walked in and like fucking told all the unarmed security people, "Yo, get on your face," and then they just took the fucking money. But they, in all, like pretty much all 3 episodes, they always talk about how they miscalculated how heavy that amount of money is. Whatever. They're like, we didn't factor in our minds how heavy that much money would be or whatever. And they actually said how much like X amount of dollars weighed. One guy's like, I don't remember the number, but it was just like, oh yeah, 10 grand equals like 40 pounds or some shit like that. I don't know what the exact number was. But he's like, we just couldn't fucking carry it or whatever. And he's like, and then we parked the car all the way across the parking lot or whatever. So we're just like, fuck, we couldn't communicate with the guys in the truck to tell them to get over here so we could load it up. So we could only make one run for it. But he's like, I was bad. He's like, we could have cleaned it all out because like none of the people guarding the money cared or anything like that. And they would have got away with it. It wasn't even reported on the news and everything because the police didn't. They were just trying to like see if they would hear any buzz. But then the old ninja guy of the crew couldn't stay out the fucking strip club or whatever, and just kept blowing money left and right. It's so hysterical. That episode is like a complete must watch because the dude just would not stop fucking it up or whatever.
Listen,
and they were just like, we got to do something about him.
If you ever rob like actual cash, you need to launder your money. Like you can't just start spending it fucking reckless. Like you need to like get that shit back into circulation on like a schedule. You know, you can't just you can't just fucking spend it like recklessly. Because first of all, like the vast majority of those bills, like there's serial numbers on there. Like a lot of places like they count for those serial numbers. And so unless you're diluting that money with other money, then you're pretty fucked. Like it's basically worthless to you, or you're gonna go to jail. So.
Yeah, they were like they had like the setup. They were looking for the explosive paint, so they went through each stack to look for the little explosive thing, and
the die pack.
The die pack, and they didn't find any in the packs that they took. So I think nowadays they GPS shit. So, but they had their setup, and they would have got away with it. But the guy who kept spending money, buying drugs, buying hookers and whatnot, it was fucked up because they did some some Soprano shit where they hired thugs to rough him up so he wouldn't.
His own crew hired thugs to shut him the fuck up. His own crew hired hitmen to come rob him multiple times, and he would not get it through his head. Stop spending the fucking money. It was insanely funny. So good. But yeah, it was a great watch on Netflix and everything. So,
it was one of those, truth is stranger than fiction. It's crazy because they show like actual like TV clips of them on, America's Most Wanted, like local news, Dateline even. There's just like they're showing them, and like the crazy lengths these people try to go to not get caught was insane. The things that they're doing, like before they started doing this, sometimes it's insane. It's just madness. But it's a great watch. Heist on Netflix, recommended by Stitch. It was madness. It was crazy. All right, Activision Blizzard. So Activision Blizzard is going through some shit right now. Apparently, there's been a 2-year investigation into their mistreatment of their female workers and at their California location. And some of the, I guess, is the affidavit that they had copies of online. There's some pretty disturbing stuff going on there, talking about like they had like a frat boy work environment where they had like these women do these demeaning things during like work hours. You have one lady who went on a business trip with the boss. The boss at the Christmas party before they took the trip, he had gotten a hold of her nudes and passed them to everyone in the office. And when she went on a trip with her boss, she ended up committing suicide.
The fuck?
So there's these incidents on there. There's like incidents of like men who are not as well qualified getting passed up over women who are more than qualified. It was just a bunch of stuff.
Hold on, say that again. I think you said that incorrectly.
Yeah, you said it cross.
Oh,
there was women that got passed up for jobs and promotions who were more qualified than the men who passed them up.
Male qualified. Yes, there you go. And if I said that, scratch it out and reverse it.
We'll delete from the podcast. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll fix the post.
You got to put that thing down, flip it, and reverse it.
Oh, well, that's what they tried to do to them in their cubicles. I'm just saying.
Not like it.
So there's a lot of people speaking out. This has been going on for like a week. Apparently, I don't know if it was today or if it's going to happen tomorrow, that some of the workers are going to do a walkout. And they were all over Twitter saying, if you work at Activision Blizzard, we're scheduling this walkout on this day. They didn't list the time. They just said the day. There's been a lot of people, saying, especially some of the Twitch users who Twitch out some of the big games like World of Warcraft, people playing Call of Duty, they're like either silent on these issues, or some of them were like were debating if they were ever going to Twitch any of these Activision Blizzard games again. I know on World of Warcraft they were doing a sit-in where they just logged in and just talked about the issues that were at hand. They just went to the social spot and just kind of protested, I guess, a bit. Y'all hear about this? Y'all know anything?
I do. Yeah, that's the stupidest. You can't do an online sit-in. You're literally paying for their service while sitting in. Like, you're contributing. So you can't protest and then give them money. Like, you don't understand. People are fucking stupid.
That's like people who like burned Kaepernick's jersey.
You already bought it.
You already bought it. He already got the money.
Like, if you want to protest, stop your service, delete your account. If that's if it means so much to you, then that's what you need to do. Stop using their products. That's what you have to do. And this is coming from I'm a fucking huge Blizzard guy. I actually applied. I wanted to work for Blizzard for a really fucking long time. And when I first started my my data storage career, I actually applied to Blizzard. Obviously, I didn't get the job, but because it was like way early on in my data storage. I love StarCraft. Back then, my main thing was just StarCraft, and to see like the toxic work environment that they apparently have, like I'm glad I didn't get it, because I worked for a company that had a toxic work environment, and I lasted 3 fucking months, and I was getting paid $380,000 a year, and I quit in 3 months because I was in part of like the quote unquote good old boys club, but I saw the way they treated one of my female colleagues,
counterparts.
Yeah, that was trying to get another job, and that's just the way they treated her, and I was just like, yo, I'm fucking out of here. I'm not gonna deal with like. You're getting rid of like somebody that, first of all, is like a really good employee that does really good work on my team, because I was the team lead, and you're treating her like shit because she wants to find another job. She wants to find another job because you're treating her like shit, you know. And so after they, luckily she found another job, but after I saw like what she went through, I was just like, I'm not dealing with this shit. So and I left, but I don't understand why. Well, I do understand at some, because people are just fucking dicks. You know, they're just straight up assholes, and seeing people get treated like so bad in like in an industry that's supposed to be, you know, so understanding for all these, you know, quote unquote rights. It's just like, and it seemed like the hollow apologies from, you know, the CEO and shit like that. It's like, hey man, like, you know who the fuck you hired, and if you didn't know, then the person that you hired definitely hired them. So, and you allowed it to happen. So
yeah,
it's just it's a shame. Like you're part of this whole system that now you're against, and like now you're giving apologies, but it takes more than a fucking apology. You need to like actually, the people that you have wronged, you need to fix that. And that's what I can't stand about these fucking stupid ass apologies that come with like these corporations, where they treat people like shit. Like, oh, we apologize. Bitch, they need more than a fucking apology. Like, you destroyed lives. Somebody fucking died from this. And all you have is a fucking apology? Oh, I'm appalled. Yeah, okay, congratulations, you're fucking appalled. How about you fucking help those people?
So another issue I have with this is that some of these are coming from top executives, and they're naming names now. So
they gotta go.
So according to several reports, one of which being Kotaku, also of The Verge, and I don't know this other report, but at BlizzCon 2013, they're naming Senior Creative Director of World of Warcraft. His name's Alex Afrozabi. He had what was called the Cosby Suite. In 2013, they had a Cosby Suite. There's a picture from BlizzCon 2013 of several World of Warcraft developers on a bed with a framed picture of Bill Cosby. And these guys are saying that this was because Cosby wore a iconic ugly sweater, and that they were using this for a quote. Was it special meetings or whatnot? Oh, a hotspot for informal networking at BlizzCon. But a lot of the people are hinting that this might have been a sexual suite, but there hasn't been any like victims that have come forward. But it's still not a good look, especially at the time Cosby was facing multiple sexual assault accusations.
Okay, because I was gonna say was this before the whole accusations came out? Because if it was just a picture of Bill Cosby,
No, this is
when he thought he was pure.
2013. This is 2013, and as he was facing these charges, and
weren't the charges like recently? Aren't they like 20?
No, he's been in jail. He's been in jail. No, he's had charges back in 2013. So it's not definitely a good look. I think on the flip side, though, EA had EA Play that same day that this news broke, and I don't know if this was the flex. I mean, I can't say it was a coincidence because EA Play was already planned out a month and a half in advance. However, they're showing off Battlefield 2042 and a bunch of other stuff that's supposed to be happening or being released with their stuff. I thought it was a major. I want to say it's a major flex, but it wasn't. It was just a strange coincidence that the day that Activision Blizzard, where Activision is the big publisher and designer, or actually it's the publisher now, because I don't think they've made it Call of Duty in a while, but they're the ones who publish Call of Duty every year, and yet EA is pushing out Battlefield 2042 that same day. I mean, it was looking mighty like a lot of people were saying, "Oh, after hearing these allegations and seeing these reports, it looks like Battlefield 2042 may have a huge come up this year."
The Cosby thing, I think, was around like 2015.
This is 2013.
No, you are very wrong, both of you. I just looked it up. The first accusation was by Andrea Costin in November of 2002. Another accusation 2004, 2005, 2005,
God damn.
2005, 2005, 2005. It's a lot of 2005, then 2006, a whole bunch of them, then 2014. There's a shitload.
So wait, no, because I think
when it started to become publicly known that he was a dirtbag,
or that he was going to court.
Dude, I think it was like last year, because that was during COVID. Maybe it was the year before that, like 2019. He was going to court for this shit. At least when the media fucking picked it up.
That's when he got sentenced. He got thrown in jail in like 2019 or whatever. He was in jail for like a year. But I remember I went to like a shitty Halloween party where you dress up as someone like offensive, and I dressed up as him with Shelby, and that was when I was still living in yeah, and that was in 2015. That was when like I think charges were filed or whatever,
wow.
and it started to become like publicly where people were just like, yo, shit.
It started in 2000, from what I can see, 2002. Vulture does a really good article on it. And this is back in 2014, this article comes back from. But the first one was from Andrea Costin, and she was the director of Temple University women's basketball team.
Wow.
And that's when the first accusation came.
What was the first accusation?
Stitch was talking about when charges were actually filed versus the accusation.
The first accusation was at 2003, right?
2002.
That's almost fucking 20 years ago. God damn.
Almost.
And now I forgot, I don't know, fucking technicality.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like when people started to get outraged. Yeah, and they started to like pull his shit off the air. And like it became sort of like publicly known. I thought was like more around 2014, 2015 when they started pulling his shit off like Nick at Night or whatever show his stuff was rerunning at, and like Lisa Bonet and all these other people were like coming out and speaking like, yeah, he's a creep.
Lisa Bonet. She was so fun.
Yeah, but to go back to the BlizzCon, the Activision thing, I mean, that's a problem in terms of their leadership and their culture, and given this whole apology about we failed you, like that doesn't fly or whatever. Like people need to lose their jobs, like from whoever. And I don't know how the hierarchy works in terms of like who's the top CEO and who's in charge of what there, but it just needs a clearing of the house of people in charge, because obviously this culture was allowed to fester under these people's watches, and it needs to be removed. And I mean, the only way you can really hurt companies like this is through money. And so I don't know if people are going to stop sponsoring them or having them. I don't even know how really the whole gaming industry works in terms of like how their money revenue comes in and stuff. But that's where these other companies to be like, yo, we don't fuck with you anymore because you guys act like pieces of shit.
Well, the sad part is though is that
unless they get rid of people.
Well, the money's already been made. It's already been made. Like the only way you really have some sort of semblance of justice is actually having not just we're not fucking with you anymore, is actually having the EEOC like step in and be like, hey, we're gonna fine you as a company and you individually for fucking with these people, and probably individually, because I think that when you find companies, like it's never enough money, and I think you need to start actually finding individuals for this behavior. Well, go ahead.
That gets a little, I guess, tricky because in terms of like if we want girl X to actually receive compensation or whatever, I think there is a much better chance that she will get it from the company. I think Activision will actually give her a check before Joe Smith, who lives on 123 Maple Street.
That's not acceptable to me. I'm sorry, man. It's not acceptable.
So that is
because the individual still has no consequence.
Yeah, I agree, but the individual is never actually going to pay that fucking money.
That's what I'm saying. Is that they need to pay that money, and the company does too, because obviously they fostered this environment of fucking bullshit. The individual and the company needs to have actual consequences that amount to a substantial amount of revenue lost to themselves. Because like you finding a fucking $1 billion company $100 million doesn't mean shit. That's like $10 fucking dollars.
A perfect example of that will be like to go back to the women's national gymnastics team, like Larry Nassar, the guy who got arrested and is doing currently 160 years in prison for his sexual molestation and child porn stuff on those gymnasts or whatever. He was sued individually, and then also the women's national gymnastics team, the federation or whatever, women's national gymnastics, was also sued, whatever. And Nassar is paid $600. He sits in a jail and he's paid $600 to like women like Ali Rasmuth, Gabby Douglas, and stuff like that. He's owed them money, but he's not paying it, and you can't really yeah, you can be like, yeah, you owe them X amount of dollars, but he ain't gonna pay it, and you can't make him pay it because he's sitting in jail.
No, yes, you can.
Not doing it. He's gonna. How? He's dying in jail.
You can easily fucking garnish their wages. You can easily
lien.
Yeah, you can put liens on his fucking house. You can put liens on his fucking accounts. There's plenty of fucking ways that America can do this. That's a fucking, sorry, not on you, Stitch, but it's a general cop-out of saying how, they can't pay. Yes, the fuck they can. Listen, there's been times I've had my fucking bank account garnished for fucking stupid bullshit. And you telling me that you can't garnish somebody's paycheck or put a lien on their properties to fucking pay back the damage that they owe to these people? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the court looks like, so what they're asking for, so this I guess is a court docket. It's not the affidavit itself, but this is saying that they're looking for the relief that the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing is asking for, is compensatory damages, punitive damages, unpaid wages, injunctive relief, declaratory relief, equitable relief, prejudgment interest, and attorney fees, and then costs. I don't know what costs.
I can tell you what the actual problem is, Stitch, is because people that once you become wealthy, you can hide your money, but when it comes to shit like this, like they need to like remove these these standards. Like, you need to stop being able to hide your money in stocks and overseas and shit once you become a criminal, then those things need to be removed. Those stipulations need to be removed, and those are the main things that are protecting those people. Because the problem is that these people make all this fucking money, and then they go to jail, but they still have all this money that they pass down through the generations, and it's fucking, it's a disgrace. It's dirty money that their kids get to live on. And yeah, does it fuck with their kids' well-being? Yes, but also their father, the person that gave them this money is a piece of shit that owes that money to other people. And it's fucking wrong, and it needs to stop. So saying that, there's no way to get it back, yes, there is, if we actually use the same rules that you use to get money back from poor people and people in the middle class. Because like I said, it's very easy to put a lien on somebody's property or their cars or whatever, and it's very easy to garnish their wages through taxes or through just like whoever's paying them. You can garnish their wages easily, but people they don't do it because they have lawyers that stop it. So that needs to stop.
Right. And to get that whole perfect world scenario where, yeah, these people have to pay out of their own pockets, yeah, that would be great. However, that to get through all those loopholes and lawyers and fucking appeal process or whatever will be years and years down the road, and the actual victims won't see the money from that individual's pockets for decades potentially.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to cap for
I
these people that they're getting off the hook or whatever like that. It's a shitty system, and that you can hide your money and do whatever, but that system's not getting fucking fixed overnight or probably any time in our lifetime and stuff. I mean, people been doing that since fucking Gotti and the mob and shit like that. So I don't think that's going to change over Activision and Blizzard, unfortunately.
Well, yeah,
but,
I think in this particular instance, yeah, I totally agree that you're correct. But let me ask you a question. I mean, obviously, you're in the criminal justice system. If someone can, literally remove your rights as a human being in America based on a felony, then why can't you remove those stipulations from your finances through a felony?
Well, those things would have to get written into law and then approved by legislature and stuff like that, which take time. But if that was voted on, agreed upon, and everything like that, then yeah, that's completely fine. But anytime you start trying to determine finances and stuff like that, then you bring in a complete different bodies of governments and shit like that go on a federal level, and then federal doesn't want to deal with states, so it becomes a big fucking pissing contest or whatever. You can't even get states to agree on whether you can pay income tax in certain states that you don't live in, or where you have to even pay your taxes from. So, I mean, if they could get all the paperwork and everything for it, then yeah, that wouldn't be a problem. But
it's because
unfortunately,
we have two different systems, man, in America when it comes to shit like this. Like, it's so easy to do it if somebody doesn't make that much money. Like, you can literally find somebody into jail in America if they don't have enough money. It's super easy. Like, if you owe, let's say child support. If you have back child support, you can go to jail just for not paying child support because you don't make enough money to pay child support. And then all of a sudden, like, you're in that system where you can never ever get out of that system because once you become a felon for not paying child support, then how can you possibly gain employment to pay it all back? You can't. But we don't give these same exceptions to people that actually have money, and that's wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the way the criminal justice system works. It favors people who have money and are rich or whatever. I mean, I wasn't here on the episode, but I'm sure Bill Cosby was discussed. And obviously, we can look through history in terms of the better lawyer that you have and more money that you can pay people, the wheels of justice work much better in your favor. And it's a shitty way that just happens.
Even in your wording, like, we just accept this, but it's wrong, and we know it's wrong.
I mean, what can we do about it?
Change the fucking laws.
I mean, we
Like,
to. I mean, essentially, we live in a country where you're presumed innocent until proven guilty.
actually, no, you're not.
So it is
we don't. That's not the country we live in.
Well, according to how it's written on paper,
Yeah.
that's how it's supposed to. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but it's not.
And
We already
everything,
know
I
it's
mean-
not. Because if that was that way, we would never pay bail. Ever.
Well, that's a whole separate side thing. I was talking about my Cosby
I know,
beef
I'm
or
sorry.
whatever, and
I'm
same
kidding.
thing with OJ
I got
or
it.
whatever. I mean, you have all the evidence right there, but I mean, you have the highest so-called standard of proof of countries around the world where you have to pretty much bend over backwards and prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that someone did something. And even if you can create some mystical illusion or get away on a technicality, even though you said you did that shit, you wrote it down that you did that shit, but somebody else promised you something else, and whatever, free to go or whatever. That's fine and dandy. And I'm not the person that will say the justice system is perfect in any way, shape, or form, or that any justice system probably in the history of the modern civilization has worked out perfectly, because then we probably would have adopted that ideal. But
Well, I mean,
It's-
there are better systems out there, but that's a whole different. That's probably a whole different fucking podcast. Because there's places in around the world that have a better justice system than America, like much better, and amazingly, these same places have lower violence rates. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's just to me
that's
that-
a whole bowl of spaghetti. That's a whole bowl of
Yeah,
spaghetti.
that's what I was saying. It's a whole different podcast. I just find it kind of troubling that the company that makes games that further encourage the mistreatment of females and minority in their games is doing mistreatment to females and possibly minorities in their workplace.
What do you
Like-
mean by your first statement? I don't understand.
You're surprised?
Oh, so no, I'm not surprised. I'm not. So,
No,
for
just
instance,
clarify your first
the
statement.
games that we talked about a lot, Call of Duty. What's Call of Duty's main player base? It's mostly white males. And what are they saying in the chat? This is what Xbox Live has been notorious for. People on there using the N-word, using language. In fact, there's I don't want to call her an affiliate, but she's a friend, and she's familiar with our podcast. We have played, myself and Prodigy, we have played numerous Call of Duty matches with her. And once some guy on the other team hears her voice, a ton of shit after every match comes out, like go back to the kitchen, or go make me a sandwich, and just like a whole plethora of shit. Before she even utters a syllable, all this shit comes flying at her. I mean, she holds her own, she talks her shit back, but usually it's the first thing before she says anything at the end of every match. And the company that makes these games is Activision Blizzard, so I'm not
but-
surprised. I just find it.
Okay, so I will draw a line a little bit with the Activision Blizzard does not control. who
I
is in
get
the
that.
chat
They
room.
have no control of their player base,
Yeah.
but it's not like they're. What have they done that kind of curb that attitude? Those
Well,
kind of.
I mean, they've
did-
done.
How you can't?
Yeah,
No, I
you,
mean,
yeah,
you
you can't
can
control the
report-
chat
Well,
groups.
you can report people, but it's also the same
Yeah.
thing. You have the energy, like once somebody figures out that you're black, like on chat rooms for like especially Call of Duty on Xbox Live, like Jesus,
N-word.
N-word is just fucking endlessly. I'm just like, bro, like what the fuck? Like, are you serious? And they're like little kids, that are saying this shit, and it's just it's amazing to me.
You know, you have to be like fucking Thor, like, look, Dick Sucker 69, I'm gonna fucking find you, I'm gonna come on here and kick your goddamn ass.
Anyway,
But,
we
yeah.
talk. Go ahead, Blue.
No, I was just gonna say that the whole Activision thing, it made me think of the movie Wolf of Wall Street. It's just that old school, like, even with Mad Men, it's that old school fucking world thinking about the world. Where like, the women need to be in the kitchen. If they're not in the kitchen and working in business, like it's okay for us to flirt with them and stuff like that, and like grab their butts and try to make sexual advances toward them. And that's not the world fucking today. Like you need, there's it actually brought, it also made me think of Founders Brewery. how
Oh,
like
yeah.
there was a whole bunch of controversy with those motherfuckers. It's like, dude, like it's like 2020. Like, how come you have a fucking printer or something? I can't remember what the controversy was. They had some stupid fucking shit happening, and it's like
it was a lot. Goddamn, I wish Patrick was in the chat room right now.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember it being a lot, but it's like, yeah, you guys need to get your fucking shit together. Like, you can't sweep shit under the rug anymore. Like, you need to fucking come out and handle your shit, apologize, be fucking professional about shit. Like, hey, look, we found out it was this mother HR found HR who that's your fucking job to do. They found out that it was this person. Guess what? They're not with the company anymore. We hired such and such person, and we're making changes. We have new policies in place. We're being more open-minded and blah blah blah. But like, it's almost like it's kind of sad they have to do it in a certain way that it doesn't seem like they're just catering to the masses by saying like, oh, we hired a female CEO. She's the first CEO of a video game company. Like, no, it shouldn't be anything like that. We should have like, you know, we have like I want to say Apple did it, but not really, because like Tim Cook is like the first gay CEO. But I want to say he came out while he was CEO.
I don't think he's the first gay CEO.
Gay. Yeah, I think he's the first publicly gay
I also didn't know he was gay. But all right.
You didn't know he was gay? That was like, that's all the news talked about.
Listen,
right
I don't give a shit what anybody does in their bedroom.
Exactly. See.
Yeah.
Like, they don't need to like shove it down your fucking throat.
Real quick.
Okay.
As long as it's consensual. Okay. I don't give a shit what you do in your bedroom.
Yeah.
If it's consensual, I don't give a fuck what you're doing in your bedroom.
But yeah, like, there's like, it sucks because like, you know, if they hire a female CEO, okay, that's cool, but don't make it seem like the reason why you hired her was because of all the controversy that happened. Like, hire her because her qualifications were like, okay, she worked for this company and they had fucking this game that came out and they fucking dominated and shit like that. Like, they don't need to have to hire her for publicity reasons. Yeah, like, they should just be like, okay, look, we fired these people, we got some new folks, we're changing our fucking ways, and we're gonna prove to you that this shit won't happen again. Like, they don't need to do the whole. They don't need to make it so like the media sees them in a good light. They need to just do what they need to do, continue releasing fucking great games. Maybe make a little changes, like with like how Odin just said with the whole Call of Duty shit. How it's mainly always a white guy. Like, let's bring in some diversity into that shit. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to fucking handle this whole situation from a corporate standpoint.
I don't know.
It's always hard.
It usually starts at the top, as they say, but I mean, the question is, are they going to do it? Because if they're living that frat boy culture, what do? They protect their own. And a lot of the complaints that are on here is that when the women complain about the men who are, you know, assaulting them or harassing them, HR labels them as a troublemaker, and then they fear for their job. So there's like this whole like downward spiral thing where they're not fixing the problem, or they label these ladies as like problematic when they're basically just trying to work in a non-invasive like environment. So
it seems like they need to clean house or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems based on the depth and the how long this shit's been going on for, and just the extensiveness of it. This is just, it obviously wasn't a one-time thing, and this is an actual culture, a systemic just misogyny and just shitty ass fucking behavior. And I don't think that the king or whatever at the top is going to change his attitude because he got caught one time or whatever. He'll probably tighten up ship or whatever and be like, all right, yo, we can't be acting fucking stupid or whatever. But he's still gonna have his same view. I mean,
he's still gonna have his Cosby room.
He's that. You can find him and shit like that. I don't think that's going to change his mindset for how he perceives his employees below him, or how he perceives women in the workplace. By telling him, all right, now you got to hire 10 women. Is that going to make him respect women anymore? Is that going to make him respect minorities?
I'm gonna hire
I personally don't think so. Yeah, it's just like he's just like, oh, new batch or whatever, and then he'll be back at his same ways, but he'll do it more carefully, I think.
Yeah, just keep that shit in the closet.
Yeah.
Activision needs a mental health day.
No, they need to fucking. Well, I think even with Starbucks, like, I think Starbucks is a perfect example how, like, you know, they had the whole. They basically shut down for a fucking day to retrain their employees about, like. It was the whole black
the homeless guy.
Yeah.
Was it the homeless guy?
there
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a homeless guy. There was
black
like
guy.
yeah, some black guys. They were meeting there to like have a discussion, and like the guy didn't buy a coffee because he wanted to wait for his friend to get there, and they called the cops on him and shit like that, and like that's when they had the whole fucking diversity training or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's
they
like
shut them all down. They were like, "Yo, this stops today."
Yeah, because this is fucking with our money flow, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Really comes down to it's not about like corporations sponsoring them. It basically comes down to the fucking gamers, because we're the ones that. I remember what a rapper quoted. What rapper quoted or spoke this in his lyrics, where it's like, actually I think it was Andre 2000 or Andre 2000 said that if I don't create these beats and if you don't move your feet, then I don't get this meat. So you and me are neck to neck. And that's basically how corporations should look at shit. Like, basically, like, was it Andre 2000 that said that?
If you don't move your feet, then we don't eat, so we like neck to neck.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yes. And I feel like corporations should take that shit into consideration. Like, hey, you know, if you're not making shit that we like, we're not gonna fucking buy your shit, and you're not gonna fucking get that meat that you want to eat, whatever. But I don't know. That's probably one of my favorite fucking lines from a rap song.
That's the problem, though. They are making stuff that people like consistently.
That shit. That's true. Yeah.
It's really up to people saying, we don't support your culture, so we're not going to buy your product. Yeah. So use your money, and that's your voice. Well, don't buy their product if you want to.
Well, the problem is that you already bought it, so you have to just stop using it. That's
that too. Well, I mean, there's a new Call of Duty coming out within the next couple months in October.
So this is the thing that I'm sort of confused about. Is it a Blizzard? So for me, I still think about Activision and Blizzard being two separate entities.
Yeah, same here.
So for me, when I think about Blizzard, I'm thinking about, you know, Overwatch, StarCraft, Warcraft, World of Warcraft, shit like that. And I think at Activision, that's like, you know, the Call of Duties and all the other shit. So if the problem is on the Blizzard side, then, which I think it is, that makes me depressed. But that's when you stop using Battle.net. That's when you stop using, you know, stop signing into fucking. If you want to, you know, actually do something, you have to stop signing into the game and stop playing it. Like, if you want to play the single player, I guess you can do that. But as far as like stopping their revenue streams, then you need to stop playing their games online in its totality. So
because that's interesting.
They are one company because they merged.
Well, they merged, but
they're still.
But like what Cross was saying, like if it was like Activision, because they mainly do like game like their single player type games where like, you know, you already bought the game, so there's nothing you can really fucking do.
So but Activision Blizzard currently includes 5 business units: Activision Publishing, Blizzard Entertainment, King, Major League Gaming, and Activision Blizzard Studios.
Yeah, so I can guarantee you that nobody from the Blizzard side is working on Call of fucking Duty. So that's why I'm like making a distinction. But from what I vaguely understand, is that the main portion of these issues are from the Blizzard side, which is, like I said, depressing because I see that people are trying to boycott Blizzard products mainly because they're doing sit-ins on World of Warcraft. And I'm like, okay, if you want to do a real sit-in, just don't fucking sign in. Cancel your goddamn subscription. Like, you signing in to do a virtual sit-in, you're putting the numbers up. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's not effective at all.
You know, I would be surprised if we start seeing this with other gaming companies.
Like, I'm sure they're probably trying to lock it down. They're like, we can't let this information get out. They're probably freaking out, probably shredding papers and shutting down Google Drives and whatever Reddits and 4chan, 8chans.
Well, just because like a lot of because I mean, growing up, playing video games was for boys. Like girls didn't do that. They were back playing with their fucking Barbies and stuff like that. And then like nowadays we got this fucking onslaught of fucking female. And well, that's kind of the other shitty part too. Like with female gamers, like for them
boy.
to stream their gameplay, like they gotta wear like scampy clothes. They gotta have like
No, they don't.
fucking
No, they're not.
Well,
for them to get good fucking numbers. They do.
No, you just got to get good. You just got to
Nah.
be good.
no,
Nah.
well, okay, so I'm in the middle here. They don't, but the ones that do definitely do get more views. But they
Okay, yeah.
they don't.
Yes, because sex sells. But
Yeah, but if you're a good enough player, you don't have to do that. And
Hmm.
I don't like that they feel the need to even have to do. But also at the same time, and listen, if you got some fucking titties and you want to, make some money, I mean, it's on you. That's your decision to do that.
True that.
So, but I get it though. There's an argument to be made. Like, you can be a shitty gamer and have like a nice set of tits, and people are watching for the tits. So,
It's funny because there's this one Instagrammer. She's a cosplayer, and she's amazing at being a cosplayer. But like when she dances, I'm like, oh my god, like I can't. Like this is horrible. I can't do with this. But well, no, I can't remember why I brought that up. But no, I'm just saying, like with the gamers, with female gamers, when they're fucking badasses, they fucking kick ass at being badasses, and like they don't need to do like I want to say having breasts is kind of gimmicky. I mean,
tits are
What?
gimmicks.
well,
Holy
no,
shit.
for
It's fucking Blue's hot take.
Oh boy.
no,
breasts are gimmicky. Okay.
I mean to get people to watch your.
No, I know where you're coming from, man.
Well,
I
no,
know
like
what you're
okay.
trying to say. It just sounds bad.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really weird, but like if you want to get the viewers, you gotta get that head count and to get that money, you just gotta get that up there. So you gotta do what you gotta do. But like, and it all comes down to fucking skill set. So like, if you're a female gamer and you're fucking like brutally fucking dominating all these fucking games, like, do what you gotta fucking do. Basically, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, but this is like the problem, right? It's how does I feel like an asshole even think about this? How can female gamers just be them? You know what I mean? It's like if they just want a game, but and they are just a normal gamer and they don't care about, showing their tits off, are they going to get that many views? And that's like, to me, even saying that's a huge fucking problem. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Like, first of all, I'm also not the demographic. I'm fucking almost 42 years old. I don't watch female or male gamers. Like, if I want to play a game, I'll play a fucking game. Like, I don't give a shit about you playing a game. But at the same time, it's like, I do see that there's certain, female gamers, like, streamers out there that definitely do, like, put them titties on display while gaming. And it's
Yeah?
just like, do you need to do that?
We talked about one in the podcast, the Delphine chick selling bathwater.
Yeah, but it's not my place to tell you that you can't show your tits to
True.
like, it's not my place. Like, if you want to do that, then fucking do it. You
But-
could be a good gamer with some good tits. I don't fucking know. But
But
like I said,
it
that's
also-
demographic. I don't watch it.
Like it also made me think of what's that one streamer something ninja. I don't remember the fucking name of this.
Ninja?
Actual ninja, the dude.
Yeah, there's
No,
a guy.
it's a guy who was on. It's a guy who got a bunch of controversy because he said he would never play with female gamers because he didn't want to. What's his name?
Ninja.
Well, it was Ninja, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like he was on like the Ellen Show and blah blah blah, and he talked about how he didn't want to work with female gamers because he didn't want to upset his girlfriend, and like he got a bunch of fucking backlash on that, and I don't know, it's just interesting how like he's a huge gamer, and people watch his show, but like he's not showing off his body to play fucking games, but like a friend of I want to say they're a friend of the podcast. Somebody that we know, she's a super fucking gamer, and she has a fans only account, but
You mean an OnlyFans account?
no fans only, man. She's high class. No.
Okay.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
She has her OnlyFans account. But like she kind of gave that up because like, you know, she's got sick of being just objectified for her sexuality as being a gamer, and she just mainly wanted to focus on just gaming. Like she wanted to focus on her skill set. That she's hot as hell, but like she just wanted to focus on just gaming.
Well, the
And
whole,
she was making a bunch of money.
the ninja controversy to me was kind of funny because I remember like when I was playing online with like, you know, kind of on a more regular basis. And I remember, I think it was like one time I came at her like a female talking. She's like, "Who's that?" And I was just like, "I don't fucking know." Like, this is somebody I'm gaming with. But like when she heard me talking to another female, she was just like, "What the fuck?" So when Ninja like said, you know, I don't play with females because you know my girlfriend. Like I get it. Like I don't think people understand. Like I don't know him personally like at all. But I get it from like being in a relationship perspective and a gamer of like you just talking to some random chick online and then your girlfriend being like, well, who the fuck is that? Like I understand that. If you don't understand it, I guess maybe you probably have not have been in a very long-term relationship with anybody, or maybe you're in a fucking some polyamorous shit, or you know you can just fuck whoever you want, you know. But if you're in like a relationship where it's just you and another person, and all of a sudden this other person hears you talking to another female, yeah, you might have to answer to some shit, and it's not unreasonable for me to hear. That's adult shit.
So I looked up Ninja's his wife now, no longer girlfriend, and they have a kid together. But like I remember there's some gamer out there that had their girlfriend was a super fucking hot Brazilian weather girl. And he broke up with her because it was impacting his gaming. And it's like, it's okay. Dude was, I think his gameplay, he was making like millions of dollars a year. And I guess having her around was impacting his gameplay, so he was losing money. And like, people were saying like, dude, you had this hot ass fucking girl, like why would you break up with her to play video games? It's like, no, it's not video games. It's fucking with his revenue. But they didn't really, the article that I read didn't really go into details of how she was impacting his gameplay. I mean, maybe he was...
Damn, pro gamer breaks up with world's sexiest weather girl. God,
look that up?
Yeah, there's like videos. She's pretty bad.
Yeah, she's bad.
This guy does not look like a gamer though. Holy shit.
Meanwhile, he just fucked up her self-esteem for the rest of her life.
Exactly, right?
Like for real.
Damn, she's bad.
Anyway.
I remember this article. I just remember her being bad. Like it's, if you think of a weather girl in Brazil, that it's probably her.
This guy doesn't look like, he looks like he's like one of those fitness guru guys. So weird.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah. All right. I am your MC for tonight.
Wait, was it Janet Garcia?
I think that's her
Is
name.
that her?
She's brunette chick.
Yeah.
Woo. Pro gamer. She's bad as hell.
She's got
But okay.
OnlyFans. Jesus Christ, really? Anyway, how much?
All right, we're gonna go alphabetical order tonight. So, Cronus, what you got populating this weekend until the next podcast?
So this week has been pretty interesting for me because I'm going through VMware training. It's the first time I've actually looked into VMware in fucking 11 years. I'm trying to get back into it. But unfortunately I have to work a 6-day work week, which is definitely depressing because I usually work a 4-day work week. But it's actually kind of cool because it's on like East Coast time, sort of. So I start at like 7 in the morning, which is when I normally start my work day. And then I'm usually off by like 2, maybe 3, probably 2. So like around 2-ish. So it's kind of nice. But yeah, I'm going through that this week. Other than that, I don't fucking know. Yeah, I got really nothing else going on. I'm doing some work around the house, but
So what's up with your shirt? Because I've been checking out the whole podcast and I was like, holy shit, that's a pretty fucking dope shirt you're wearing.
Oh, were you not aware of like who did this shirt? So this is are you serious? Were you not?
I'm serious.
Okay, sorry, you weren't there. So this is a Boomslank shirt, and it's by a Nigerian guy. I'm pretty sure he's Nigerian. We met him at a Comic-Con, or a con. I can't remember which con it was, but he was a really cool dude. He does all this by his own artwork, and he made shirts. So if you go to Boomslank, let me make sure I have the website correct. But he was a really cool dude.
Yeah, now that you say it sounds fucking familiar. And like looking at the whole shirt, because this was like a black anime thing, right?
Yeah, and he was trying to make a manga and an anime. I don't know if he did it yet, but if you go to boomslank.com, you will see his artwork. And you can buy like phone cases, T-shirts, sketches, prints, hoodies, stickers, banners, all kinds of shit. He's a really great artist. I wanted to have him on the podcast, but I don't know what happened. But I could probably reach out to him and have him on. But he's a good dude.
Yeah, COVID had a fucking stake in every fucking thing. But yeah,
this is well before COVID. Like we probably met in like 2017, 2018ish.
Yeah, I want to say it was SS Comic Con in Oakland.
It probably was. Yeah. But yeah, he expanded his line, and all the artwork is like so fucking dope. I might actually buy. So yeah, his if you go to boomslank.com, the shirt that I'm wearing is called the Megalith, and it's $35 online, and he has a bunch of other artwork as well. So just check him out. I forget the guy's name, but he was a good dude, and he made amazing. And like, he was like selling so many fucking shirts when we were there. It was amazing.
Yeah, I actually remember that shit now. Because I was looking at the shirt right now, I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of fucking guns.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Ninja, what are you doing? What have you done since the last podcast? It's your floor to shine, man.
Actually not doing a whole bunch. Hopefully I'll be able to talk about the Fear Street series because I finished that, and I'm just gonna be watching Kingdom, the Korean zombie series, because season 3 dropped. I don't have a whole lot going on this weekend, at least that I know about, but just gonna be gaming. I've been playing Prodigy's favorite game, Marvel's Avengers, because the Wakanda DLC is coming out, and it's free. So the expansion's free, so it should be cool. It's coming out, I think, in 2 weeks.
Alright.
Nothing super major than that. So yeah, that's about it.
Alright, nice. And then with myself, little baby Bash, he's been fucking developing, man. He's 4 months now. And last week we talked about how we were doing the whole sleep training, and little man is sleeping through the fucking night, which is amazing. But like, we're introducing allergen food items to him. So right now we're feeding him like basically like liquid peanut butter just to see if he's allergic. We're trying to get his system adapted to trying all these items that we call allergy reaction. So we're doing peanut butter. The next week is going to be soy food. So we're going to introduce like tofu and stuff like that. But then like we're gradually going to introduce like different food groups that would cause him to have an allergic reaction to kind of figure out to help his immune system be able to handle these things. So when he's a fucking kid, he's not super allergic to fucking like gluten and shit like that. But we're doing that right now. I posted this video in the chat recently where he actually fucking rolled over. He went from his stomach to his back. But he's been playing with the whole back to the stomach thing, and it's fucking funny because he's like fighting it. Like he'll try to roll over to his stomach from his back, and he's like fucking he's kicking it and like screaming and trying to get into his stomach, but he just can't get that full roll on because his arm is extended a certain way. But he's like on the cusp of fucking rolling over. But he's at the age where he's kind of outgrowing his bassinet, so the Sweets and I are looking into getting him. We're actually not going to get him a crib. We're actually going to get him a full-size bed. Not a bed, but we're going to get him a twin-size bed. Because we're kind of practicing the the Montessori approach on things. So basically, his bed is gonna be on the floor, and he's gonna have like there's gonna be bumpers basically, so he doesn't roll out of the bed. But if he does roll out of bed, it's gonna be like I don't know, fucking short little drop. So it's not gonna fucking like kill him or anything. But we're doing that. But then this weekend, I gotta work on our fucking backyard. I feel like this is a broken record with our backyard because we have so much
Vegetation.
foliage.
Yeah.
Vegetation. You have so much fucking vegetation in our backyard. I gotta fucking I have to maintain that shit. And like we have strawberries in our backyard, and usually in the springtime they're like full fucking bloom. And that's mainly because that's when we get the most amount of rain. And then like summertime, they're fucking it's dry as fuck back there. So I got like an irrigation system I'm gonna install so that we can run the water so our backyard could be fucking decent again. Yeah, we're gonna buy a new bed for the bash. We're gonna try to set up his room finally. What else is going on this weekend? Oh, I am gonna be taking my parental leave. So I'm taking two. It's supposed to be 8 weeks off, but I'm taking 2 months off from work, just because, for my fatherly bond with my kid. Even though I've been working from home, I mean, I have the option to bond with them already. But the sweetness is going to be going back to work, and we haven't really had daycare set up. But I'll be watching him for the next 2 months, just me and him. And I have so many ideas of what I want to do with him, like going to the zoo or like this and that, going to the parks and blah blah blah. But like one of the cool things is that I'm still getting paid for doing this, which is great. But after everything is done, everything is good and done. If you live in the Bay Area, definitely look up. There's a service called what is it called? I think it's childrenfirst.com. But like every county have a different name for it, but like you could find actually Stitch's wife hit me up on this, but I knew about it before. But like you can find daycares. There's one program because daycare is pretty fucking expensive. Like you can easily pay like fucking thousands of dollars a month for daycare. But like this one other program, it literally lets you find places that do in-house care. And they have their license and this and that, and their rates aren't that expensive. So definitely check. I'll find out the link and I'll try to send it to Cronus to add it to the podcast. But definitely do your research when it comes to doing for looking for daycare, because your kid's future is very fucking important. And if you can, definitely try to find something that's in a monastery, because it really helps with mental development of your child.
Yeah, Riley, my 4-year-old, is in a Montessori school, and it's fucking awesome. She can do math, and she's 4. I'm just saying.
It's a little fun fact. Manamana, she did Montessori.
Oh, you mean Holly?
Or aka Holly, aka I can't say her name because that'll be her real name. But she's the reason why I know the sweetness.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
All
right.
That and a mutual creepy guy that we know.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, Ninja, take us out of here.
So
Piano Man, take us out of here.
I don't have a piano. I guess you can do a virtual one. You just experienced Black and Black times Infinity. Check us out anywhere and everywhere on the internet with B's and BTIs. BTHANBTI. Anywhere you can listen to podcasts, we're on there. Check out our official website, benhadproductions.com/BTI. You can email us at bthandbti@gmail.com. You can yell at us or whatever, or review the podcast, because sometimes I get that now and again. You can email us so we can all read it. We have a Discord. Email us to let us know that you want to join. On Amazon, we have an app on there to let us know when we go live. We're on social media except for Snapchat and TikTok. There you go. Check us out.
We should make a TikTok one.
Why? You're just gonna be dancing to stuff. I guess you can do the booty scooty on TikTok.
That's it. Every week I do a booty scooty. I said I've been paid not to do it, so
But you never actually got paid, so just saying.
Oh yeah, so I guess
There's that.
I'm not gonna do
Somebody needs to send you the checks.